Ladies and gentlemen, the wrestling world has lost a legend, a Hall of Famer, an icon in the sport of professional wrestling in Terry Funk. The Wrestling Wrealm would like to send our condolences to his family and those who have survived the hardcore legend himself. Here at the Wrestling Wrealm, we would like to do, in tradition of this sport, in honor the great Terry Funk with a 10-bell salute.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes! What you gonna do? 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 Oh yeah.
Welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, you can watch all of our Wrestling Wrealm content anytime on youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm. I'm your host, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen. Yes, that is I. He is your host. Brother Hugh has the third H to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the D. He is your host, Hollywood Bryan H. Waters, the Jack Daddy himself, and last but not least, the Belt King, Brandon the Guy is in the building. Follow us on all social media platforms: Instagram, Threads, Twitter /X, and Facebook at Wrestling Wrealm. Like, subscribe, and engage in a conversation with us. I'm not ready to call it X all the way. It makes no sense. We're just gonna keep
Only
referring to
Brandon says that
this.
on
How about this?
Culture.
The social media platform formerly known as Twitter, like Prince did. You can stream and download all of our audio content on Anchor, Stitcher, Podbean, Pocket Cast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and watch and subscribe to our Twitch channel at the Wrestling Wrealm. What is Twitch? Twitch channel. This is crazy. At the Wrestling Wrealm.
A part of your body that's moving or something. But
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know. It threw me off a little bit. Okay. If you want to support the Wrestling Wrealm,
That's exactly what I thought about when he said Titch. Like,
that's funny. If you want to support the Wrestling Wrealm, you can shop now at WrestlingWrealm.com. That's right. We have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have mugs, we have all types of merchandise. So if you want to support the Wrestling Wrealm, if you want to display you being a proud wrestling fan, if you want to be jacked like Bryan H. Waters, being Jack Daddy, head over to WrestlingWrealm.com, and hopefully soon we could get some of that fancy championship culture merchandise on the website as well. So if you're interested in buying merchandise, being a part of the brand, supporting the brand, all that good jazz, head over to WrestlingWrealm.com. That's most likely where you can get everything. I think that's the only place where you can get everything. But that's not all.
Discounts on Patreon. Well, $5 free shipping for life.
You heard that, ladies and gentlemen? What Bryan H. said. I don't even remember. I just didn't matter.
If you're a Patreon subscriber, you get free shipping.
There it is, everybody. See that? See, we handed out discounts. The seasons are changing. We're going into the fall season. There's discounts for everybody. Speaking of Patreon, we do have a Patreon channel. That's right. Patreon.com/wrestling_realm for all exclusive shows and bonus material. That's right. You'd be surprised at things that we can't say on the air, the stories that we can't necessarily tell. But if you join and subscribe for just as low as $1, you have the opportunity to read some of the things that Bryan H. has done such an excellent job of putting out there with Bryan H.'s thoughts. We don't have a lot of time to always express ourselves, but guess what? Patreon.com/wrestling_realm is the place to do so. Soon, we have plenty to come pretty soon. Like we just had the whole discussion about it before the show started. But subscribe for just as low as $1. Patreon.com/wrestling_realm. On to the next sponsor, right? But if you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, football season just started back, ladies and gentlemen. Head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use promo code Wrestling Wrealm to save yourself $20 off any one-time purchase of $50 or more. So if you have never used this promo code, you can use the promo code Wrestling Wrealm on SeatGeek.com. Do yourself a favor. Save yourself $20. Tickets are expensive, but in the fall season, we got football season coming up, baseball season. Before you know it, we'll be in the playoffs. So go ahead and save yourself a couple dollars. Orioles, number 1 in division. Are we number 3 or number 2 overall? Where we at?
Number 1 in American League, number 2 overall. We will see the Braves in October.
Yeah, because I know we were chasing them for a little bit. We like what, 2 games behind?
Yeah, but
at one point
we can get that top seed. We don't have to do the first round. We'll see the Braves. We'll take out Atlanta, beat a superior city. So hey, shout out to my auntie in the building, Aunt Kelly in the building. Yeah, I call her Aunt Kelly.
we got auntie. we got family in the building already. But listen, now we have family in the building. Guess what? Hopefully she can go check out Championship Culture. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, what the heck?
Brandon, the guy, and the executive producer, Brother Hugh. He's hiding behind his belt like Wilson from Home Improvement.
Yes.
He wants to be in the background so bad. Like, nah, bro, we put you in the
That
forefront.
is the perfect picture to describe our dynamic.
Bro, he's like, I swear, that's 10 to 2-man Taylor, and that's Wilson. See, if you're not a millennial older, you're not going to know what the heck we're talking about. But anyways,
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The pier right there. Do you see that?
every Tuesday, live
what
on
the hell graphic is that, Brandon?
Bro. First of all, look at this, bro. You got this Bad News Brown jump off going.
Bro.
Bro, you like Bad News Brown?
Yo, let me tell you, he still look like more intimidating than half of the independent wrestlers out there right now. Yeah, I said it.
Uh-oh. There it is. Cue the
We talking about family numbers. My mom's in the comments.
That's a champion. Hey, shout out to your mama.
Hey.
Let me see if she's gonna comment on the picture.
Okay, let's leave it up for a little bit. Championship Culture. See, now I'm about to put him over since he got his mama in the mix.
Yep.
Championship Culture every Tuesday on the Wrestling Wrealm YouTube channel at youtube.com/Wrestling Wrealm. Playlist Championship Culture. Brother Brandon, tell the people exactly why Championship Culture is the highest rated show on our YouTube channel right now.
All right, so I think
It deserves it. Exactly. All of that.
I think it might be because every belt has a story, and I think people are interested in not only hear the story, hear some backstory about my collection, about
Belt
that
improvement.
You name it, we're gonna talk about it. If you think about it, we probably gonna discuss it. It's educational, it's entertaining, it's about belts, and it's crazy because last night I was joined by one of the founders of the Wrestling Wrealm, and it was an interesting conversation that was had because sometimes looks can be deceiving, and we talked about some belts that look like they should have been world titles, or were carried like they were world titles, or just have that feeling of being a world title, but they're actually not. So myself and the Real Dwayne Allen, who started off as the belt thief, but then he came back to being just the realness. So he was a heel for about 27.6 seconds, and then he came back to the face side. The crowd wouldn't let him be a heel. So I will say this.
Thank you. Listen, you guys are so gracious. Thank you, everybody.
It was a good conversation. If you get a chance after you watch, or if you're listening to Wrestling Wrealm Down podcast, go to youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm and take a look at all of the playlists for Championship Culture. You will not be disappointed. Some good conversations, and he's number 2 of a few more special guests to come. So I appreciate that. Now we've had all the members of the Wrestling Wrealm on there. Brian H. Water. We had the debate about Big Eagle versus Wing Eagle.
Yep.
Brother Hugh was there about.
Look at that beauty. Look at that thing.
Who wore better.
Such a beauty.
Look at that thing. This takes me back.
Signed by the Hitman.
Go
Would
ahead,
you?
go ahead.
That's
Go
the man
ahead.
who defines that championship.
Okay. Then we had Brother Hugh on there with who wore it better, because he loved that Kane belt. The Kane belt that he wore for 24 hours, the blue Big Eagle. And so I had the privilege of having looks can be deceiving. So good in-depth breakdown of things. So that's Championship Culture in a nutshell.
So I gotta say this about yesterday's show real quick. I love that topic about Kane didn't win it. And the title, he loaned it. I love the topic about belts that look like it should have been like a world championships. Because when y'all brought out the TNA belt, the red one, I was like, whoa, because I forgot that it wasn't like a world championship. So, and then even the conversation about the Ring of Honor tag team title. So, yeah, definitely want people to check that out.
And you know, and I made an interesting point. If TNA had 2 shows, I could see that being the other title on the other show. Right. And it was crazy because when they revealed those ROH belts, I said, how do all of them look like world titles? Well, the 3, the world title, the television, and the tag team, because I feel like they just gave up on the 6-man. They just said, give me something. What you got? And they had nothing else because it was kind of just like, you got all these beautiful belts, then here, just give that division this. But I don't know if did you hear this? Did you hear this? We had breaking news. So it's a sad day. It's a sad day in the world of the wrestling realm.
It's a sad day.
No, baby, that's for somebody else.
I got a phone call. A sad day. It was so convenient that before he went on Championship Culture, he magically had to pick up his championship. And I don't know. I just want everybody to I'm gonna leave this picture up for a second. This is the realness in his Jeep with his belt outside of the sunroof, holding it up. So if you're listening, imagine a 6'12" man driving an SUV with his arm out of the sunroof and holding the belt up. So he's already 6'12" normally. This belt is probably about 12 feet in the air. And he looked like he's yelling, woo, like he's Ric Flair. So the belt has made it home. It's actually really shiny. And it actually looks good on camera. I don't know if y'all can see this, but just to describe it, it's a really good. So now,
real nice.
So now here's the thing. If you ever see 2 or more members of the Wrestling Wrealm, I'm pretty sure you'll see a whole complete tag team set now. Since everybody has their own.
No, show that picture again real quick.
This one?
The other one.
You talking about this one?
Bro, if that don't look like 2000, I just won the hardcore championship.
Bro, I was thinking the same thing. And
I'm running off.
Bro, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like,
And if anybody knows the realness and how he dressed going to work, it looked like he about to go. He just won the belt. Now he got to go to the shoot job. Because right there, it was like, nope, I got you. He is off to the races. And now there's the bottom credits because the show just ended. So now he going off. And then you got to tune in next week to see. Credits.
But courtesy. If you knew what I had to go through to get that belt to him, because I got a call on my wrist communicator probably about an hour before it, and I had to get it back from a certain person because Billy asked to borrow it, so he needed it for a special mission. So I had to go back to I can't say where because that'll give away the secret location. But the last time the belt has been seen anywhere, so it's almost on the levels of it,
right?
Huh?
Billy's back.
Yeah, he needed it. He needed it.
I knew that part.
Powers for them, so the belt's home, I guess.
Yep, it's home indeed. Look at it,
right?
Look at that. Look at that. Just there is the light that shines special for you and me.
He is real happy.
He's big.
It's upside downward, sir. You don't even know how to hold it. See, this is why we can't trust you with belts. So yeah, that was a lot of championship culture at one point, but we had a lot
going on this week, as you can tell.
He said this. Did y'all see this comment?
The Sour Rangers.
Wow.
Uncle Raj in the building. Listen,
she gets it. Yeah, Arn gets it.
There we go. Look, risk there you go.
She need a reference. She gets 10 cool points.
Come on now.
Oh man. Oh.
Hey buddy, what you doing? Huh?
So
nobody even caught that. That was live footage of me driving off, trolling brother Brandon in the Jeep. Because I was about to say, there's footage of this in case you guys didn't know this. But it only seemed fitting. I went through
put that on the
weeks-
gram,
bro. I went through weeks and weeks of abuse. Of these guys trolling me.
20 times funny. What's this? Is that Walmart?
Bro, show
Oh,
the
look what
Michigan.
Dylan called you. Oh no, Dylan, you
Oh, yeah,
can't
look at
join
that.
in
Come
on
on
this.
just me hanging out with my belts. Look at that. Can we play the footage again of me driving off in the car? Like that was. I think people need to see that again. I don't know if they paid attention to it, but this is me driving off. Hold on, let's see if we can get it again. Well, whenever it pops up, ladies and gentlemen. But I felt like this is a sweet redemption. I need to do this.
You.
There we go.
Hey, buddy, what you doing? Huh?
The video was way longer than that. This went on people for an extended period of time. He was driving around my car, so I couldn't pull off. And then when I finally pulled off, he tried to cut me off to do it again. But we just gonna we're gonna understand that he brought a knife to a gunfight.
Oh boy,
I did twice. It was I failed twice, and I needed to have this moment. But you know what? This moment is it was well worth it though. But
Yeah, that's exactly what he looked like. He looked like he got the last PS5. It was flexing. That's exactly what he looked like.
Yep. So it's going to sit right here with me for the rest of the show. But since we have so many people already engaging in the conversation, gentlemen, he said the 3 hours hilarious.
I'm glad we could bring some joy to you.
Oh, trust me, it'll go on Instagram. Like that way the world can see it because it's my sweet redemption.
We might put some money behind that post.
Listen, it might go viral. You never know. You ever see the guy?
The fact that he was
That's on brand. That's the realness, ladies and gentlemen.
It can only be me, right? Keep it real.
Yep.
But we are here today because we are here to talk about some of the best returns in pro wrestling. And no, I'm not talking about the belt returning to its rightful owner. No, not this one. We're talking about some of the greatest moments in the history of professional wrestling that we enjoyed from all generations. That's right. Returns is almost goes hand in hand with people kind of backstabbing each other in professional wrestling. So tonight is one of those nights. You say, well, why are we talking about this now? Oh, look, Brandon, look what he's doing.
I got my original back, by the way. But
His Wrestling Wrealm Intergalactic Championship is back in his possession. Yes.
The original version 1.
V1. John Cena is set one of them. John Cena is set to make his return September 1st back to WWE on SmackDown. So I said, this is actually Brother Brandon's idea from the show yesterday. He said, why don't we talk about some of our favorite and the best returns in professional wrestling history? And this is going to be really engaging for the chat because everybody has their own favorite returns and so on and so forth. So we're just going to kind of chop it up like we did last week, and we're going to have a great conversation about it. But gentlemen, before we get into that, what did everybody watch this week? Was there anything in particular that went down? Hit the graphic. That was the sound I made for the graphic. That's how it sounds.
I got it.
Wait till you guys hear it. Here it goes. Right there. I tried to replicate that. Did I do a good job? You guys laughed at me, so I think I didn't do.
No, it was about C+.
Whew, man, my mind didn't like me bringing C's home, but that's okay. There's room for improvement. There's room for improvement. But I'll start. I don't know why. I don't know what it was this past week, but I've been on an old school Ring of Honor kick. I don't know what the heck I was watching or what kind of sparked it, but I've been watching old Young Bucks. I was watching it before I got kicked off the TV. It's Duck Dynasty's on now, but I was watching the last match I was watching was literally the Young Bucks versus the Briscoes. Like I said, rest in peace to Jermaine J. Briscoe. And I just been watching all old school Ring of Honor stuff, Jay Lethal and Adam Cole and all that good jazz. But I don't know why, but I just been on a Ring of Honor kid. I even think about subscribing to Honor Club just so I can watch, because they have all the old TVs. They have like a full year worth of televisions and pay-per-views, etc. And I wanted to collect the DVDs, but I have like 4 of them. But I don't know, man. I think it's time to make that investment. Well, what did you good brothers get into this week?
I lost my title this weekend.
Oh no, what happened?
Come on, man. I was babysitting the niece.
Oh no.
My butt, man. Took my
I-
title. I wish I put it. I should have put
Oh
the
no,
picture in.
Did he break it up?
Yeah.
we lost his Wi-Fi too.
But yeah.
Oh no.
I had Robert get it back. You know what I'm saying? It's right.
I don't know about y'all. You
Yeah.
breaking up really bad here on
Get it
my end.
Back. I gave
Did
some
anybody
Starburst
give
jelly beans and she was cool with it and she gave it back. But yeah, that's what happened.
So let me get it straight. So you had to do the job to your niece, and you literally got your strap back because over some Starburst jelly beans. Like she just
Lifesaver.
That's crazy. Well, you know, kids kind of had that effect, especially you're probably the favorite uncle. So it's no shame in losing your championship
I
to your
am.
niece. But I'm glad that you. I mean, but you had to bribe her to get it back though. Like you definitely told me you had to get Starburst jelly beans. I mean, listen, by any means necessary. By any means necessary, brother. I can only imagine the look on her face. She probably realized. No, don't be embarrassed, man. Come on, man. It's a little kid, you know. So don't. That's
She
your niece.
deserved taking the title from you. She deserved that.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Did you have a
your
super
baby.
kick party? Did she super kick you?
Yeah, she did actually.
Don't.
Okay,
It's
good.
okay.
That-
First of all, fool around with Uncle Hugh. She is ruined. She's never like it's. First of all, can you imagine if we were her age and we had a chance to hold it? They just be around all those replica championship belts. That I don't think they were even a thing in our day. As old as we
But I
sound
knew
right now.
he's going to lose it because I called him and she was in the background and then she started yelling at him and making all these. I said, "I'll call you back," because clearly I'm interrupting something serious.
I said,
That's
right.
why
I
the fight
gotta call you back, bro. She
Yeah,
won't let me
that
get
must have been when the
off. I
fight
gotta get off
broke
the
out.
phone.
Uncle Hugh's wrapped around her fingers. So I first of all, if I'd have known what was going ahead of time, I'd have like, yep, he ain't gonna make it through this match. You know how we watch it like, oh yeah, I don't know, man, he might not win this one. I'd have told you off breaks. I know who's going over in this one.
Right, you automatically could tell.
And then he had to play backstage politics to even get his title back. Talking about Starburst jelly beans. I mean, listen,
Right.
you did what you had to do.
And
Bro.
right
No
to the
shame
playground too. Did you take it to the playground?
I might post a picture a little bit later on. Check Twitter, Instagram.
There
I'll post
so,
it.
ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see the picture of the aftermath of Brother Hugh losing his Wrestling Wrealm championship to his niece, stay tuned to Twitter, Instagram, and everything else. Brother Brandon, what'd you get into this week, sir?
So I don't know when.
Look at his face though. I'm feeling bad for him. Like I'm like,
Yeah,
you
I feel.
okay?
So I'm gonna tell y'all this: if you haven't seen this yet,
Mhm.
and I don't know when the shift start happening, NXT is getting so good,
Bro. Isn't it? What's going on,
That-
Shawn Michaels?
First off,
Producer Sean.
Illinois is that guy. He's been my guy for a while.
Yeah, he has.
He's
Though. You've been talking about him for a minute.
Oh boy,
I'm
I know
that
where
guy.
this is going. I know where this is going.
That main event. Why is Carmelo Hayes and Wesley? Their chemistry was so good together in that match.
Awesome.
I didn't realize it was that good because he was telling me about it. Then when y'all posted, I had to watch it today. When I tell you, I can see them fight for the next 6 months, and I feel like they would do something different every time. Carmelo, I don't want to sound cliche with him. He don't miss in his matches. He's got that. You know how Walter give you that? I might lose. It's a credible threat, but I still pull it out at the end. He's like on a different level. And I don't know what it. I think Wesley was like, I can keep up with you. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna do this. And it was just certain spots. Like even when they were just punching each other back and forth, it was like a different type of intensity. You know, when they did the little exchange back and forth, and then from when what's it called? It did that little springboard thing that he does until the leg drop from the ropes. It was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take your moves, you're gonna take mine. Then he did like the running meteor towards him. I was like, these dudes said we taking our training wheels off. And for it to be for the world title of NXT, it felt like it was, this is our wrestling. We don't have to take pauses, we don't have to take breaks. We don't have to have, I don't want to quote like Randy or what he said, they do too much or, kind of let the match breathe. They said, we're going to do this match our way. And every Carmelo Hayes match tells a different story. And I was just, when I say, I don't know when it got good, but
Bro,
I think Carmelo is the right person as the champion right now.
I was saying the same thing this week. I was watching it and I was like, wait a minute. Like I found myself, both AEW and NXT are hitting strides. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm actually like getting through both shows. And we had this conversation before where we knew it was going to take time to adjust to these new faces, new characters, and then the implementation of like the UK guys coming into this version of NXT. But I will say this though, to that match, I was impressed with Wesley. I knew him from his tag time in Impact, and then he had his tag time in NXT, and I wasn't sold on him as a single star. Even though they gave him the strap, they gave him the North American Championship. I wasn't completely sold on him as a singles guy, but I was really impressed in that match. I was like, okay, Wesley, first of all, he had nothing to prove to me. He had already proven it, but that match, I was like, okay, I got you, brother. I'm with you 100%. I was thoroughly impressed. And like you said, Brother Brandon, that's NXT is the atmosphere to have that type of match, because you may not be able to do that on the main roster with TV time, and but that's the main event of your show. That's how you do it. So thoroughly impressed.
And when I looked it up on YouTube, like every highlight I saw was over like 30,000-40,000 views. I'm like, of just their match. I like the highlights. And even when it comes to NXT, if you go back and look at how they repackaged Dominic Dijakovic, it's like, okay, I know he ain't the champion, he ain't in the title picture right now, but him, Dragon Lee, they have bona fide stars within NXT that's going to be, I can push them in any picture at any time. With Illinois, him, and yeah, you got a Braun Breaker in the background, but to be honest with you, I don't even miss Braun Breaker right now.
That's how you know they're building new faces, man. Like Ilya Dragunov, man. Like he's not, I'm not a fan of his look, but he's one of those guys where I'm saying he's got me looking past that. That's how good he is. I wasn't familiar with him in his NXT UK because I didn't watch it that much, but his match with Walter at NXT Takeover at the last official, before of what the old NXT looked like. I was when he beat him for the United Kingdom Championship. I was thoroughly impressed with him, and then just first of all, his promo. He's a smaller guy, but he's a tough smaller guy. Like he reminds me of a very old school wrestler. Type archetype was like he may be a smaller dude, but he's tough as nails and just limitless in the ring. I feel bad for Trick Williams trying to keep up with that guy in the ring.
Oh, he's gonna be there. Trick is gonna get there.
He needed that match, but I agree with you. I said, man, he needs this to work.
He's starting to get a character now. He didn't have a character before. I stand corrected. I went back and looked. Their match highlights on WWE's YouTube page has 93,000 views in one day. Just the highlights of their match. But that's all I'm gonna say. NXT, it's a dark horse. If you want to see it, just turn it on. It was just, and I didn't even get to the Rhea Ripley stuff because okay. That's what I watched.
it's NXT's turning the corner. Brian H.
So yeah, this week I actually saw what it means. Get the hair done. That means it's time to go back and watch some old stuff. So I was showing my sister some of like we was looking at the Hogan, the big trio, Hogan, Rock, and Austin's WrestleMania 30 promo. So then we was talking about like the mic work. So we go back and look at like some of the savage moments. Like there's a YouTube clip of some of the savage moments from WWE versus AEW. And one of the things I noticed is when you watch it with somebody who don't watch wrestling, it's you see it from a different eyes.
Right.
The WWE stuff, like my sister's like laughing. She can relate to it because it's just regular stuff, right? The AEW stuff was so inside baseball. Like I found myself having to break everything down to it. And I'm like, not to like crap on the company as always, but it's like, bro, like going back, I could see the transition they made from focusing on catering to the IWC, where it seems like now when I look at Collision, more so Collision than Dynamite, it seems like a wrestling show that's like trying to catch a broader audience. So
that makes sense. I see that. Yeah.
But we got a gift from the one and only Dylan Matthews.
Son, he works so quick, bro.
How is that done that fast?
He works too fast. I like it. I like it.
Dylan Matthews, though. You're a graphic designer.
Dylan used to be my friend. Used to be my guy, Dylan.
But he found the right hat.
Bro,
the right facial expression.
Bro, he got the font and everything. What is going on? Wow, belt improvement.
It is so quick, man.
That's what you guys get. You guys deserve.
I'm ready to take a trip, man. I'm ready to go hang with Dylan. I feel like that would be a fun.
Okay. Let's take a Wrestling Wrealm trip to Australia. Belts up.
Do it. We bringing the belts.
Like, all right, everybody, belts in. Yeah, we gotta come up with like a little trend or something, like 1, 2, 3 Wrestling Wrealm or something.
Bring the belt. We gonna hand bring him a shirt. I'll hand bring him a shirt.
I mean, we have to.
Give him a shirt, man, like the NWO style. Take it.
Would that be crazy content though? We need the freedom to be able to do things like that.
I know.
But that shout out to Dylan Matthews and everybody else. Hold on, wait a minute. Wait. Time out. The Queen, Stephanie Hardy. She said I signed up for the Baywatch
she probably
Beach
watched it.
theme with Terry, Ric Flair, Randy Savage.
That's like you were talking about, wasn't it, Dwayne?
Yeah, I was just
You couldn't figure out what he was like when it was at the beach, it was in the water, and everybody. Was it a spring? What you call it? Spring break.
Spring break. Yeah,
Yeah.
one of those things. But classic wrestling is good. But I think one of the biggest classic moments that we have in all the wrestling, like I said, is the topic of our show tonight. So
shoot, my boy Noah in the building.
what's cracking, Noah?
Yeah, he talked about the conversation y'all was having about the UK. He talked about Dragunov right there. Talking about his run was fire.
He has me wanting to go back and say, let me go check that out. And that's the beauty of the network. So
he makes people better though. Like when you sit there, you talk about like Trick Williams,
bro.
Like
he needed that match.
Yeah, it may seem like, but just the not just the in ring, but the feud. Like he's making Trick Williams dig deeper, and
Right.
I mean, we've seen this in wrestling before. The athlete, the guy who used to be an athlete, who got to really change his perception, change how he carries himself. Like he said, when him and when Mello said when him and Trick first did a show on SmackDown, they come in there like, yeah, man, we're gonna go in there and show. He's like, whoa, you don't go into Roman Reigns and the Usos locker room like that. You go in there, you be respectful. But coming from a basketball mindset, you gotta go in with that, confidence. So he's learning the business and he's getting a best seat working with not only some of the best wrestlers over here, but like in the world.
He's going to be really, really good. I'm telling you. Like
that division, man.
Yeah,
the women's division over there, they
are building that.
And Becky, like, I'm ready to come down there. I ain't get the belt.
That's what. Like a lot of people made a lot of noise about Rhea Ripley. Like for instance, not defending her title on the main show. I'm like, but what difference does it make if developmental is working simultaneously? So one, she's getting reps, but she's also helping to build the next generation while she's having her main event run. Like you have to solve the problem of how do you keep women important, knowing they're not going to be at the top of the card, knowing they're not the biggest money maker, but you don't want to diminish the title and who is ever holding the title. Freaking Shawn Michaels and Triple H's DX figured it out, man. Well, like think about it. Dom is a huge part of the weekly shows, but then he becomes the man in developmental. Once again, he's getting reps and he's also helping to develop, and he's getting eyes on a product. When the Judgment Day's been off, Judgment Day's been having matches on NXT for like a month straight now.
Yep.
Like, you kidding me? So it's just like, I never thought that we would see wrestling this way before it worked so simultaneously. But it goes back to shout out to the Click and all those car rides. This is where all these ideas and things came from.
Right there.
You know what I mean?
How do I be a part of the Click?
Like Triple H talked about it. He said he's like, I'm not surprised about whatever he's doing. Which Shawn Michaels was talking about Triple H and developmental. He said, because this is something that we have been talking about. This is how it should be done. And it's to the point where we don't even realize it. I've been watching NXT honestly as a third show. Like it's a smaller venue, it has a bigger feel to it, and you got money makers on the show. Like you have it is must see TV. Like you have the Judgment Day every week on there in some way, shape, or form. Rhea Ripley, and then they turn around and go on Raw. And then once again, that NXT Championship, the World North American Championship, it follows Dom to the main roster to Monday Night Raw. And guess what people are doing? They're following that same championship from Raw back to NXT on Tuesdays. It makes sense. You want
to see Dom get beat up. That he get them heat, that legit heat that I told Brother Brandon about, and Brother Brandon experienced that for himself. Non-piped in booze, and you watch that, and I mean, man, they cook it. And then you see Ava Raine, getting her reps in. Then she got kidnapped.
She is gonna. She reminds me of the acting side of her father so much, and I'm gonna tell you why. She's smart. She is tapped into that stuff early on. Like she's not trying to go out there and say, okay, she knows The Rock is her father.
Right.
It's a disaster to try to go in that situation and think, I gotta live up to this name. So what is she doing? She's like starting from the back and going to the front. Like, okay, I'm gonna be this actor. I'm gonna get into this character. I'm gonna make this persona, like all the dramatic stuff come to life. So then by the time she gets in the ring, no one's going to even care about what she does in the ring, is because they're going to be so invested in the stuff that she's already done as far as her storylines, how she carries it. And just at the end of the day, it's just all about storytelling. So
Bingo.
Shout out to HBK, man. Like, goodness gracious. I didn't remember we've been critical and we've been inching. Now we're like, yo, this is all right. Like, I really was sitting there watching NXT, like, nah, this is pretty good. The kids still don't like NXT yet. They're not feeling it.
Yeah?
No, not yet. They're not
They haven't connected with nobody?
Not quite, not yet, but they don't watch it on a regular basis. But
I think it takes a while, but once you get a couple characters you connect with, or like it'll be cool. I mean, we had 2 black people in the main event. Like, we can't just all black everything. First of all, Dallas Irvin, the referee, Alicia Taylor, the ring announcer. Shout out to Steph Hardy because she posted this, and I'm borrowing this from her because that's how I knew the referee's name. But I get to give her a shout out for the credit. And then Mello and Wes Lee. Like, when do we have that? We haven't had that in WWE under the WWE umbrella. You know, so to have all black people, man, come on now. We just celebrated with WrestleMania when we had all women with the women's match, so like these barriers, like, it's lovely. I
definitely saw her graphic that Stephanie had put up. So it's it's a wonderful thing to see. But I mean, that's where we are. I mean, even when we talk about some of our most favorite returns, I mean, even in NXT, one of my favorite returns, just to kind of start the show off, we might as well just ring the bell. Bryan H, let's ring the bell. Here we go. We got a lot of people here. One of the most impactful, I think what makes a good return in pro wrestling is a number of things. I think one, it has to be some distance and some time between whoever is returning and when they're returning. Sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder, and we can appreciate certain talent when they're not there sometimes. So part of that, what makes these special moments for us as wrestling fans is sometimes people have to go away for a while, or sometimes they have to venture out and they come back to a much more appreciation. But speaking of NXT, one of my most impactful returns that I enjoyed the most was when Finn Balor returned to NXT. There was rumors of him just kind of being burnt out, want to get off the road for a little bit, trying to find some stability. And Finn wasn't really doing much on the main roster anyway. So to me, it seemed like that was probably one of the first times where we saw a top main roster guy choose to go back to NXT, and he got to kind of stretch his character a little bit. We got to see him do heel work that we had never really seen before. I haven't seen Finn Balor be a heel since New Japan, and it's not many, wrestling fans younger than us that are familiar with his Prince Devitt days. So him going back to NXT for the first time, we saw a different wrinkle, but the return was huge because he's a former NXT champion. I remember watching his climb to be NXT champion. I remember him chase Samoa Joe, and when Samoa Joe finally kind of passed that torch to him, and then for him to leave, become the first Universal Champion, you know what I mean? Only for it to do the injury, and then we get the Kevin Owens show, career, so on and so forth. But him to return to NXT, it was a big deal, and I think that's part of the reason that we're enjoying the Judgment Day to this point is because of such a massive return for such a big time star to return back to NXT. And I think it kind of changed the stigma between what is used as developmental. I don't consider NXT developmental anymore. It's used as developmental, right? NXT is a show. And on that show, we take that opportunity to develop our young talent and our up and coming superstars, as well as give our current talent opportunities to get reps and chances for them to kind of get their mojo back. We see Baron Corbin, who's voluntarily, what would he be doing in the main roster right now? We don't, you know what I mean? But yet he fits into NXT because they need his name, they need the star power, and he has something to do. So, what are some of your guys' most favorite returns? Just like I said, we'll start from anywhere, and then we'll just kind of narrow it down from there as we kind of get involved in the conversation. In the chat, put some of your favorite returns. What are some of your favorite returns in all of pro wrestling? All just, it doesn't even matter what era it is, it doesn't matter what time it is, just whatever. What's some of your favorite returns that you've experienced as a fan in your pro wrestling fandom? Anybody want to start? There's Bryan H. Oh, geez. Let's see how many Hogan's returns, or how many times we're gonna talk about age.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's get into
what
it.
I tell you here.
Wait,
everybody was waiting. Everybody was waiting. Everybody was waiting.
Close.
Right.
Fast forward 8 years. Manhattan Center, 1993. Hulk Hogan returned into WWE before WrestleMania 9. Came to save the day. I talked about this on Fan Club. We talked about best storylines, and one of my first favorite storylines I remember was Hogan and Beefcake. But the return was Hulk Hogan because you had 92, it was dwindling down, and when you look, he comes in there, he gets that pop, no matter what people want to say, because we hadn't seen him in so long. And he comes in there to save Brutus. Jimmy Hart just makes a babyface turn with Money Inc. and and that right there was just that was epic. Man, that was on my list too, Stephanie. But yeah, so Hogan making a return, which led to us getting that tag match at WrestleMania 9.
What about you, brother? What about you, brother? He was one of your most favorite returns. We first of all, we knew let's just get Bryan H out the way. We knew
Right.
Hogan.
Absolutely.
We knew it was coming. So, what about you? What's one of your most favorite returns?
Well, I'm going to 2019 with a guy named Joe. When he came back,
Really?
Yes,
That was a big deal.
Yeah, and it wasn't about wrestling. It was about real life stuff, a real life situation, and it was a very real message. And it was a blessing that whatever happened, it happened. That he got over it. But then that fast forward on to 2020, I believe. Actually, this
week coming up. This day.
Right today. We got the tribal chief. The head of the table was born. Throw him up for me one time.
Did you acknowledge him today, though?
Yes, of course I did.
That was a big deal, man. That was catastrophic.
Yeah.
Just shook the whole landscape of wrestling today. I didn't even foresee Reigns being what he is today. Like not to that degree, man. But it's when you look at it in hindsight, what he has done, that's a huge moment. What about you? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Greatest out there, possibly one of the greatest out there right now.
Sure.
Well, the thing is, we wanted him to become heel. People kept saying it, like, "Oh, he needs to become heel. He needs to become heel." But nobody saw that. Nobody saw.
No, not at all.
And like you said, shifting the landscape. You look at the needle mover, the how much money he's brought into the company, just as a heel, right there. So yeah, that one right there.
That one, yeah.
Oof, man, Daniel Bryan coming back.
Let's just let the fans dictate the show. We're going to address this. We're going to address Justin Rich. You guys are naming all the stuff we're going to talk about anyway. So let's just start right here. Like, brother Brandon, I didn't want to forsake it. Did you have one off the top of your head before we jump into this one?
Which one I'm gonna say is my first one since we went there with Hogan.
Let's just go ahead. Now come on.
You know what? It doesn't really matter what he thinks, though. It doesn't really matter what he thinks. Let's just touch base on Justin. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what Brandon thinks.
Okay, wow. Go ahead with Justin. Go ahead.
No, wait.
Since everybody's talking about their favorite returns, like the crazy part is,
I can't even. Go ahead. That was one.
I can't even talk about my favorite return because Shawn Michaels returned back. First of all, I'm glad he found Jesus, but he came back with blue jeans, and I was like, no, I'm not feeling that. And then he came back with the brown booty pants and elimination chamber. I wasn't feeling that either. I didn't feel like Shawn Michaels was Shawn Michaels until a little bit after that. But go ahead, brother Brandon, because we're going to talk about Daniel Bryan saying he was cleared to wrestle WrestleMania 34 return match. That's just where we're going to go. But brother Brandon, come on, Brandon. We got to talk about your guy. Save us.
I'm a channel my Brian H. Waters purse. I'm a channel this. This was back in 2007. He came to MCW. He signed my Intercontinental belt. I tried to correct this man, and he turned to me and said, "I don't count that reign," and he still signed it as a 7-time champ. So then proceed to get my WWE network, my WWE magazine, and it's all about the codes being broken, right? And that Monday Night Raw, it was the silliest return because you remember the guy was running to the arena, and then all of a sudden you saw somebody like this, and everybody knew.
Bro. And he had short hair, so nobody knew what was going on. But you saw the sparkly vest, and you're like, "Oh, tell me."
And then he came back, and it was like, okay, now he ruined it by coming back 746 times afterwards. Well, but that was the first time he had took a break from wrestling.
Yeah,
he was gone enough that everybody was like, "Oh, is he really coming back? Is he going somewhere else?" I think he was gone for 2 years, right? And then he came back, new persona. He had more sparkles. He was like, breaking the code, and it was just like. It was a great return the very first time.
Yeah, and he also did the same thing he did last. He had a build up to it. You know what I mean? He had that little Matrix style thing going on.
But the computer code coming down and talking about. Remember that was prelude to the Triple H dust. All that time. And we sitting here. That's the best we could do at the time. That was 2007, a long time ago. But I'm just saying that was
I enjoyed that.
It was a fun return.
I
Mhm.
And I
enjoyed that
remember
too. I
getting
was
my
happy to see him back.
WWE magazine and they spoiled it for me. And I'm like, oh, I know
Yeah.
he's coming because when he was at MCW and everybody kept asking, he said, I'm just enjoying my time. He had just had his
Bluffing.
Daughter, right?
Yep,
Or
he had just had
son?
his daughter, and he was talking about he was enjoying the time. He had never had any injuries and everything like that. And I remember him saying about he didn't care if he was a heel or a face because everybody has a job. And he gave me one of the best quotes I ever remember because he said, "If your boss go out there and tell you to clean the bathroom, you got to clean the bathroom. So if my boss goes out there and tell me to have people hate me, I got to make them hate me. After he tell me go out there and tell them to make me love me, I got to make them love me." He said, "You just got to do what your boss do." So he don't care about being a heel or a face. He just does something to try to do what to please the boss. So
It's crazy because I remember you talking about that time because first of all, we all knew you were going to go see Jericho, but there were rumors about him going to TNA at
I
one
don't know if
point.
you know what happened when he walked past me backstage, do you?
I'm
Bryan,
sure
were you back there?
No, me and Marcus, shout out to him. We was out front because
Because
Marcus
I'm
never
in
got a
the
chance to
back
meet him.
talking to Tracy Brooks, who knew me by first name because remember she became a staple, and we just sit back there talking. And Jericho came past. I pushed out the way and started following him like the ultimate fanboy. So
like
I
a groupie.
apologize to Tracy Brooks.
And that's
So
something
so
Brandon
you
don't
push
get.
Tracy Books as in Bobby Roode's old manager, Tracy Books.
Yeah.
In the height of her TNA, Tracy Brooks, that said, "Hey, Brandon, how's it going?" Who knew who I was and had seen me, and we had talked multiple times. Yeah, I pushed out the way to get to Jericho.
He said, "Oh my gosh, it's Jericho."
First off, you got to be seen for whatever you're doing. You that don't work in that way. But
So
I got that one out of the way. That was it.
No, listen, everybody has their one.
Yep.
Daniel Bryan, when he said he was officially cleared, where were you guys on the day when you first found out that freaking Daniel Bryan was cleared to? First of all, we saw him on Talking Smack. We saw him on a show. I knew it was real when he had to retire. When he cut his hair, he was backstage. I said, "Oh no!" I was devastated. He was my favorite wrestler. He was my guy. He was at the height of what Daniel Bryan was doing, and he had to retire. But the day I found out that he was cleared and ready to come back to the ring, I was so elated. I mean, it's something that I never thought that I would get the opportunity to really experience again for him to come back, and that just like it's still to this day one of my favorite moments. So what about you guys?
I think because it was so much. He was probably the first person that really we were sad that he left, and he went back and did something to prove I can come back. I think that was probably the best return because it was in like even when Roman Reigns said that he had his leukemia came back, it was a sad moment. We knew he would come back.
Yeah,
Edge had went away, couldn't come back at the time, right? And it was like Daniel Bryan went away, some similar Page, and went away, came back, and had to go away again. So it was like with Daniel Bryan, it was kind of like we felt that because we knew the American Dragon from ROH. We knew he made it to WWE. He got fired, came back. We were there for his story from the beginning. And it was like, before to be taken away, and it's like, he's just getting he's getting to the point that we know he can be at. And it was like, I got to go. But then it's like, oh, he's back. What can he do? Now we can pick up where we left off. So I think it was a great thing because we all felt that.
No, and I think that's the most important thing when you think about some of the best returns. It's when you can feel these moments, it kind of lasts with us a lifetime. And it's the fact that we didn't have in the show. But another one of those moments that I felt like we all felt along the same sentiments was when Edge returned at the Royal Rumble after a 9-year hiatus, however long he was gone. After being
the first time.
Well, his first legitimate return after having to return after being forced in retirement because of really, really bad neck injury, possible pinched nerves and all that stuff. Once again, another superstar, another one of my favorites that I never thought that we would see in the ring again. Like I knew something was up. It's because me and Brandon used to talk about the ENC show. We always got a kick out of their stuff, especially when we were trying to come up with ideas. And all of a sudden, it got to a point. They had the ENC show that totally reeks of awesomeness. They had it on the network for a little bit. They did like 1 or 2 seasons, and we were like, "Bro, this is funny. They should do another season." And all of a sudden, they just randomly stopped it. They randomly stopped it. They randomly stopped the the podcast. They said we're just pretty much done, and I was like, that's kind of awkward. And before you know it, probably a few months later, I hear that music at the Royal Rumble. Edge comes out, looks like he's about to have a heart attack because he's going nuts based off how the fans responded to him. And it was one of those special feel-good moments that I will never forget, is because you're talking about a guy that lost his career. You know what I mean? And he came back 10 times better because in his time away, he got into acting. He studied acting. He had been involved in the industry for so long. And for him to come back and just kind of have the run that he's having made it that much more special, because just like Daniel Bryan, it's somebody that lost their career due to devastating career-ending injuries. So Edge returned to the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that one I liked, but I couldn't really enjoy it because of the circumstances.
What's the circumstances?
Today is the birthday of the late great Kobe Bryant, and the fact that it was that
Sunday was very tough. Yep.
I was like, I'm watching the Royal Rumble. I was in New Orleans for work, and I remember getting back to the room, and I'm like, I got the Rumble on. Me and my former manager, her and I just came back from dinner, and it was just like a somber day. And I was, probably wiping tears out of my eyes. And I was like, oh, Edge is back. But I couldn't, enjoy it. And that's like the biggest, regret I have about the whole thing. But, it was definitely a moment right there, indeed.
For me, it was the opposite, man. It was a much-needed distraction, because I cried early that day. You know what I mean? Happy birthday to Kobe Bryant, like I said. And for a moment, I didn't have to think about that, because that's all I was thinking about all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it was almost like a welcome distraction, even if it was for a moment. You guys have heard me talk about it to nausea, about how wrestling has always been one of my best distractions, no matter what's been going on in my life. And for me, it was one of those moments. And I'm grateful for that moment, is because I feel like Edge gave me that. I needed it that day, especially after what had happened. Like I needed to have that moment as a fan, because it was tough to process, and nobody knew what was going on. Pandemic, it was a lot. You know what I mean? So
I gotta return. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was about to say, I can definitely understand how it'd have been tough for you to kind of even really experience that moment.
I gotta return. I want to play a clip of.
Run it.
It's not too many times you can. I've been in a building for epic ones. But this one was mentioned in the chat, and I said, well, I actually got the video on my phone, so I want to take the people with me for a ride. Funny thing,
that was pure reaction, man. That was lovely,
bro. So the funny thing about this is, and if she sees this in post, because you're not up right now, but Krista B will tell you that I apparently banged her shoulder. Every time they play this clip, it's like, and my shoulder still hurts from Bryan jumping and hitting my arm. But the fun part about this is, funny story, this was actually on the Real Dwayne Allen's birthday that year.
It was.
And so
April 2nd.
After I finished recording this video, I FaceTimed. I was like, bro, here, I want you to experience this. And I was worried because I remembered your WrestleMania 33 story.
33 moment, yep, with the hardest, because that's on this list too. But we've talked about that one 1,000. We talked about that one 1,000 times already.
And I'm like, bro, I was like, I'm in the moment, but it was like after the phone started ringing, I was like, oh shoot, I hope it's not on like a
yeah. It's always like a 5 or 10-second delay sometimes. But when you call me, it looked like you were in the club partying. You're like, bro, and I was like, man, I'm with you. I already know what's going down. I'm here too. Now that's a special moment, man. Like I said, that, and that's what it's about as far as what we do, especially us being a unit, being brothers. Like we shared that moment. Even we were miles away from each other, but that moment still brought us together. You know what I
mean? Justin, I don't know if he's still here, but I think Justin was on the floor for that one. I know he was there, obviously, because we hung out later, but I think he was actually on the floor for that return. But just like that, so the funny thing is when you go back and watch it, you can see the shift, like how he said that. He said, I don't know if it was in the doc or in one of his interviews, but he said like Kevin Dunn said, "We'll make everything better, the presentation better than it was in AEW." One of the thing is like now people, in fact, people know the words to the song. The first verse, I should say, and
the first
Janelle,
verse of the song.
Man,
Janelle says everybody got.
I wish I would have put that clip in there.
Huh?
I wish I would have put that clip in there.
Keep going. Keep going, Marty Porter.
Y'all know which one I'm talking about. The one with Brandon singing the song. Boy, I wish I would have put it in there. God.
Yeah, Janelle from HR says like y'all got till Mania 40 to learn the words. But you can see now, like the WWE universe has like taken over. Like I was watching old stuff; they don't say the "whoa," in AEW. They didn't say the "whoa."
They barely sung the song at AEW.
Exactly, it was
all
all about
Judas.
Jared
was
is
out
all
there
about
playing
Judas.
it live. The crowd was like, "Just get to the ring, Cody."
Yeah,
Get to the ring. Like everybody just looked like they was irritated. Like, just get this up. And then he was trying to come on, cheer me on. And they were like, "This, can you finish?" Like I remember saying, I was like, "Oh, they don't say this before," but it was like, "That's it," and it was like, "That's it." Like, okay.
But yeah, that was an epic night. Yeah, Justice said he was on the floor, risers across from Hardcam. So yeah,
that's specific. Just was on it, man. Now, but Cody Rhodes returning at WrestleMania has got to be. Is that the biggest moment outside of Hollywood Hogan returning to WWE after being in WCW?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
it might not feel like it right now, but when it's all said and done, and he wins the title and everything, retrospective, I think we already see where it's going. So it's the biggest moment. But
so it's about how we're getting there at this point.
And once we get there, and after it's all said and done, people gonna go back and look and say, "Yeah, that's the biggest moment since."
And it's crazy because that moment we knew it, but we didn't.
You know,
like with the Hogan thing, it was like, "Oh crap," because it was a is he or isn't he, and it was quiet. It wasn't. We didn't have the internet to ruin it for us. We have all the speculation that it was him coming back, but remember the thing was to throw us off. What if it's Shane McMahon? You know what I mean? Like it was like, man, I can kind of see WWE doing that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's gonna be. But then when it was Cody, it was like our guy's home, and like they said in the documentary, he's returned. You know, because after he smashed the throne, I was like, he's never come back to WWE. I said, oh, he's actually back.
I thought he would after that. Just because
I knew he would.
Yeah, like how wrestling works.
Yeah, I know how wrestling.
Right.
The dollar will talk, but I'm just saying, like I thought he was doing it more for himself, saying, because remember when he left and he got that song commissioned, he gave them parts of the song to put in there to kind of say, I can do this on my own, which he did, but AEW wasn't really his swan song to his father. It wasn't I got to do what he. I've won the NWA World Title, so me and my dad are on the history books like that. But I got to go do this for me and him. So.
Nah, listen, I couldn't agree more. But I think one of the things with we probably forget the most about these moments is that, just like you said, like I put it this way, ever since Eric Bischoff returned to WWE, I was like, oh yeah, anybody's
bingo.
Anybody can come back home. And
so when Bret came back,
Bret was a big deal.
Yeah.
When Bret came back, that's when I knew anybody could come back.
Bret Hart killed TNA's momentum on Monday nights because remember because Bret returned to WWE the same night that Hogan and Bischoff showed up to TNA, and they had a little impromptu NWO moment, as they called it, the band. I enjoyed the run of the band, in TNA, but the whole thing was like, yeah, man, let's get these big money contracts, and Hogan's like, no, it's not the same, brother. We're not doing this anymore. And that was cool and all, but then guess what? Bret Hart returns to WWE. So let's just go there. When Bret Hart freaking returns to WWE after everything that happened, I mean, goodness gracious. I remember that night, it was like, it almost like it was head to head. I don't know what TNA was thinking, trying to, I think they were trying to cause a stir. Eric Bischoff, in his production company, and Hogan were just trying to make try to make an impact, no pun intended. And WWE countered that, said, no, we're going to have Bret Hart returned to WWE after all of these years, and Bret kind of got a little bit of impromptu run where he could kind of end. Well, he could probably end his. He had a run to the U.S. title.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like is that he wrestled in those Jordans and his jean shorts and
baggy
t-shirt.
shorts.
I said, bro,
what you call it? That jersey.
Yeah,
His jersey. Or was
yeah,
it
like
His hockey jersey.
he had his
Hitman.
Hitman jersey. You know, he had a new version of his Hitman jersey. But it was the best that we can get, and I'm appreciative of even how the story ended. You know, him and McMahon kind of rehashing things out, and then then their match at WrestleMania where he's like, "Yeah, I paid off the Hart family to turn on you," and he's like, "Oh no, I don't think you understand. They knew exactly what we're doing. We took your money, and now you're gonna get your comeuppance." And it's like, one of the things that I definitely admire about he whose name should not be named, because every time we mention his name, we have technical difficulties, is that not only did we get a resolve to the real life issues that happened, but we got to resolve to the storyline, because that's where the Mr. McMahon character came in. I didn't say his name fully, so it doesn't count. That's where the character was birthed from. So it's like, we kind of got our full circle moment.
Bro, I actually go back and watch that match from time to time. I think it was just
I don't
being happy that Bret was getting his get back. Just that sometimes, like, I tell you, when I watched it, them Best Buy days.
Was the best that was the DVD era, as I call it.
Yeah, when you go to work and you remember all the stuff we was dealing with in the summer of 2011. So it's
as soon as you said Best Buy, that almighty blue box, I just like, oh yeah, trust me, I see why you watched it then. But monumental moment. That's if WWE wasn't in the space that it was in back then, I feel like it would have been much bigger. Like, I could imagine something like that happen under the Triple H era, but we're talking about 10-15 year difference. But that was another huge monumental return. Once again, it taps into everything that makes a good return. It was emotional, it was unexpected, it was shocking, and it was something that the fans all wanted. Let's get into another.
Wanted and needed.
You're absolutely right, because I think Shawn Michaels needed it, because we got that Rivals DVD out of it.
Yeah,
and that's the only one we got. Well, we got the full story. We got to hear both sides. We got to hear, like I said, I remember Bryan said, man, the only other one they could have done with this that made sense would have been Hogan and Macho.
Yep.
But unfortunately, Macho had passed away, and you got to catch them on a good on a good note, because Macho either hates Hogan or he loved him. There was never any in between. So you got to catch him during a moment where he was like, "I'm good, you're my brother," until Hogan does something to piss him off, and then he hates him again. Be a man, Hogan.
Did you watch his A&E bio?
Did I watch it?
Oh yeah.
Of course I watched it.
But okay, yeah, because I enjoyed that a lot. I actually also enjoyed the Dark Side of the Ring story too.
Now, see, that's the one I did not watch though. I did not watch the Dark Side. I'm telling you, man, it's cringy. I get nervous, man. Like,
I feel you. That one isn't as bad.
Okay.
feel
no, which one isn't that bad? Like, what do you mean in comparison to the rest of them?
Yeah,
that's not saying much, brother. You're not giving me confidence to go back.
No, but because like it's not good. It doesn't paint like Macho Man as a super villain. Like Warriors painted him as a super villain.
His dark side, right?
Yeah. And considering the way his A&E didn't portray him great, but mind you, and Warriors stuff came on literally. It was according to the Dark Side producers. It wasn't on purpose, but they literally came on the same week.
Oh wow, okay.
So
that's crazy, because that's where I was gonna go next with Warrior. But go ahead.
Yeah. So like,
let's go there.
Yeah, but with Savages, it wasn't as bad, because it was like it's called A Match Made in Heaven, or with him. It's about him and Elizabeth. But
okay, that's I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
that's a subject that you kind of can't avoid, where you don't look like a villain a little bit.
Yeah, but
yeah. You talk about investigative journalism, man. This Dark Side is vicious. They start uncovering things, but
I love it though.
I love this season. This was probably one of my favorite seasons.
So you guys like that drama. I can't deal with it, man. I start running out the room. I'm like, nah, I can't do this. I'll be like, nope, not doing this. I just don't like bad stuff, man. It's just
but Bash at the Beach 2000.
That was a good one. I watched that one. See, that was a safe one, because that's the one. That's
you already know.
That's one that I needed answers for, though.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize that whole thing that happened. Like, for instance, once again, that whole thing that happened with Jeff Jarrett and Hogan was planned out. I didn't know that.
Right.
Now, the only part that wasn't planned out was what happened afterwards.
That's
the part I didn't know. Man, and this people are sticking to their lives. And Russo's supposed to be a born again Christian. He did a book and everything. I'm like, man,
facts.
Like, come on, man. Like, somebody's got to tell the truth, because they all still swearing that they lie. And It's like who do you believe?
You know, you
Vince
should have
Russo?
called Jim Cornette.
No,
I feel like he should be in all of them.
I think they probably did. He probably cussed in every last one. Look, man, I'm gonna say what I want.
Cornette's like the MVP of the series, in my opinion.
He
Because
has been in a couple of them, hasn't he? I've seen him
lot.
before.
Like,
But I've been surprised though, because usually he don't seem like someone that cooperates and being civilized.
No, like they said when they walked in there, he took them through the his attic, and you see all the history, and it was like, you know, it was so much fun like working with him. And he said even the second season, he's like, well, man, let me make sure I put on my shirt and tie for this. And you seen Cornette, you know, you was a good friend. He's a fan of yours.
Listen, and I'm a fan of his. I said James E. I shook his hand, everything. Yeah, he was one of my childhood guys that I met for the first time in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, and you know the way he, like, just his demeanor on the show, like he's gonna tell the truth.
Yeah.
The one that made that you saw a different side of him was the Sonny and Skip episode.
Yeah, well, Chris Candido.
Chris Candido, because he was like, he honestly kind of felt like guilty for bringing him into the business. You saw like a different emotional side of him, and it's like, wow. But he's somebody like I want to see him on every episode because. Did you heard the promo he cut on Vince Russo on his show, right?
Of course, that's what I figured he was going to be like on Dark Side. Now, I've seen clips of him, you know what I mean, but I didn't realize that you call him the MVP of the series. Now I'm like, wait a minute, because I like James O, because to me he's one of the better. This is the reason why he has like I think the top 2 podcasts this year. He's
number 1,
He has like number 1 and number 2. Unless I looked at it wrong. He has.
No, you're right. Yeah.
He is one of the best storytellers out there. So I'll sit back and I'll just be like, just listen to all James E stories. Like, it doesn't matter what era it is, everything. He is one heck of a storyteller. So now y'all got me roped in the dark side.
And on that, he doesn't. He's going to tell the truth. He's going to say how he feels, but he's also like fair, and in a sense, because like
unbiased.
So like and like in real life, like. Value-wise, I would side more with Russo than Cornette, if you know where I'm going with this.
Sure,
but
I get it.
Cornette, a lot of times I'm like, well, you know what? He's got a point. And the promo, the end of the Bret episode, the Bret Shawn episode. I don't know if you saw that when he talked about his wife's instructions. That right there had me like, oh, bro, like, come on now, like, what she's supposed to do if Vince Russo dies and you know he can't do it himself, and he's so. You really see it like they could do a whole Dark Side of the Ring episode on their feud alone, and that could be like that's what I would want to see.
Yeah, because I want to see who's somebody's lying, somebody's telling the truth. I don't know who it is, but no, yeah. See now y'all got me roped into this, but I guess I'm curious. We have talked about a lot of returns. We talked about their moments. We talked about what makes them special.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of honorable mentions. Like I said, the hardest return at WrestleMania is an honorable mention because, like I said, I've talked about that so much, and I'm still scarred by the fact that the network ruined it for me while I was at Lombardi's trying to get me something to eat, me and my mama. But are there any more special returns or any more of our favorite returns? Because we're gonna wrap this up. We're not gonna stay on there too long.
Oh,
I think
I got one.
Well, one of my favorites was just because I was there. Was the Raw after WrestleMania, but in 2012. You already know what I'm talking about, Brian. Brock Lesnar came back.
Oh,
yeah. Only thing that kind of ruined it though was the dirt sheets. Pretty much, everybody they kind of knew he was already coming, but it was still a great experience. Yep, but it was still a great experience.
How about when we were there when RVD returned back to Philly at Money in the Bank?
Hey,
that was fun. Yep. He was fresh off that TNA run.
Yep,
and they all jumped him. They jumped him back into the fold.
Yeah,
and he ended up leaving.
Wait a minute, brother Brad. I act like I'm okay with it. That is the episode.
It's probably going to come in like 10 years
because they already made the parody of it. Somebody put together the parody online.
See, Tony Khan's got everybody signing NDAs at this point, so who knows? He said, "If you guys,
I'm just waiting for it." I act like I'm okay, but.
I can't really discuss that. I understand why you asked, but I can't discuss that right now.
Or like why Cody really left why Cody really left AEW. Everybody knows something. He kept saying, "Yeah, I had a personal issue.
Can't talk about
I cannot talk about it." And I know he's telling the truth because I remember they signed NDAs. They signed like legal agreements, like we're gonna go our separate ways, but we are legally obligated that we can't speak. Same thing with the Brawl. The Young Bucks like, no, I literally can't speak on it. We signed NDAs, but Like, is it any more returns? Any more?
Yes, I
yeah,
got.
go ahead.
I mean, we've been all WWE. You know, I got to take it to TNA for a minute.
Please, I hope you say the return, because I'm gonna stay in TNA. See, I'm telling you, I'm trying to do the alternative kick, brother. I'm in AEW, I'm in TNA. If you don't say the right thing, I'm gonna follow up. Go ahead.
Well, my thing about AEW returns, I feel like they just return from injuries. There hasn't been any like I've been gone off TV. It's always been like even when Hangman came back, it was like okay, he was just off TV. You know what I mean? But
fair enough.
Yeah, in TNA, one of the returns is probably an unpopular one, but I remember because she was leading the knockouts divisions at one point within the tag team, and then she was trying to break out as a single star. Do you remember when Velvet Sky came back the first time? Because she wasn't part of the Beautiful People.
Vaguely.
And Victoria, well, I'm sorry. Oh my God, what was her name? And why am I drawing a blank? What Victoria's name was in TNA? And she came back and interrupted her and Mickey James.
Sarah, right?
Sarah, yes. And it was a big deal because it was like, oh, she actually came back because everything was in the air about her coming back.
Mm-hmm.
The time that AJ came back during the whole Aces of 8 storyline, he had his long soccer mom hair. That was another one.
Emo AJ.
Yes, because it was like, is he with Aces of 8 or was he? And they kept playing around with his music, with that dark music, and it was like
they started playing that Johnny Cash sounding theme song he had.
And the last one was fresh off his WWE run. You know, it was controversial. Then it was like, oh look, he's back, and he took out LA Knight and got the title back in the same night.
Oh yeah,
you remember that one? Come on, Dwayne. I know you remember that one.
Even I know that one.
You said what? Say this again. I'm lost.
He came back from his WWE run, confronted LA Knight. I'm sorry, Eli Drake.
Oh, okay, that's what's throwing me off. I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? Like,
I'm sorry, Eli Drake, and took the title from him.
It was don't tell me. It was Bobby Lashley, wasn't it?
Nah.
No, or was it Drew?
It was a little guy.
Oh.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. A little guy. Hold on. Fresh off his WWE run, because Eli Drake was. I remember him. That's what I noticed him the most in Impact, and I was like, wait a minute, he used to be in NXT. He kept going Eli Drake, but I'm trying to think. Was it Austin Aries?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's oof. That was bad.
Right.
That's when him and Johnny Impact had their match. He just laid down and he just woke up and got out the ring.
But that was after he came back, because remember he came back and started being the belt collector, and he got that belt, and then he went on that whole tear through the Indies and Red Pro and everywhere else. But it was, oh shoot, Austin Aries is back. Nobody expects him to win the title that night.
You talking about a bridge burner, and Austin Aries was a big deal in TNA early on. Like he was one of him and Roderick Strong used to do that jump back and forth from Ring of Honor and TNA thing early on. And Austin Aries TNA's what made him a main event star. That run he had with Bobby Roode and stuff like that. Because I didn't see him in that same light, but yeah, he was fresh off that feud with King Neville, and he was doing nothing backstage, and they put him on commentary, and he bad attitude, and they cut him. Sorry, Austin Aries. I'm disappointed in you. Go ahead, Branch.
No, that was it. I hope you don't. Go ahead, Dwayne. Who were you gonna say?
Brian, let's go ahead. You have to, because I'm disappointed in Brad. We're gonna call him out because
go
ahead.
Two real quick. One, we talked about Roman earlier. This person on the women's side did almost the same thing, not the same thing with I would say same thing with the return as a full character change that made me into a huge fan. That's Sasha Banks coming back with the blue hair.
Stephanie mentioned that.
Yep. Yeah, I before she was, another person on the roster. I think I got irritated with the Sasha crew because I just wasn't believing nothing she did. But when she came back there, I was like, okay, now I can see what you are. I can see who you are. I saw the confidence. But then another return. This is actually earlier in the days of the Wrestling Wrealm. The Rock. When The Rock came back, and this is like an iconic moment.
Okay, yeah. That talking about WrestleMania 27, Rock
27, and the reason why I say like this is that shift where the real Dwayne Allen and I are in school and we talking about it, and to the point all the closet wrestling fans came out,
bro. Like after Woodward, like scattered like roaches, just came out of nowhere. Open up a cabinet, just like where's all you guys coming from?
Right. because we had been talking wrestling because it's WrestleMania season. It was like as soon as we found out we wrestling fans, all right, bam,
unapologetically loud on the corners, like just whatever.
Hey, facts. And he was like, "Y'all seen that last night too?" You know,
like,
and then
who said that?
Exactly. I forgot my man name. He used to do security, but all of a sudden he started coming talking to us all the time, and he would tell us about like, "Hey man, yeah, man, you know I wear the wrestler shirts, but I'd rather wear like a Miz shirt because it could say I'm awesome. It don't have to come off as a wrestler. You know what I'm talking about,
bro? Who was that? I remember that conversation, bro.
Yeah, I forgot your
name. In the
name.
closet, wrestling fans,
bro. Yeah. Listen, Brother Hugh, they came out of
this one. Dwayne deemed that term, bro. Yep, Dwayne deemed that term,
bro. It turned from A/B conversation to a full-blown classroom conversation. Everybody,
I remember Bryan talking about it all the time. He used to tell
me
all the time about it.
All of a sudden, y'all watching wrestling now? What's going on?
Yeah. That's when I found out CJ Butter was a wrestling fan. You know,
and he found out a lot of people was wrestling fans.
Yeah, and he wasn't as much in the club. I gotta do it one time.
Yes, sir.
I hit him up. I talked to him a couple weeks ago. You know, he gave. I ain't get the full, but I got a little bit of the NABJ report. You know, you gotta get the annual report of NABJ.
That means after
CJ
dark.
Butter. Yeah. And I gotta hit up B Croft too because I ain't get one from him yet. But
B Croft gonna have one because when I ran to the airport, he gave me the rundown.
See,
he gave me the rundown. I trust me. I felt like I was there.
But yeah, man. But yeah, that Rock return was special because
it was.
You know, it was what was needed. And you know, I feel like it might be getting another one very soon.
You know why? Because it was his career was on the downward spiral. It wasn't the most popular.
Did you see the tweet that went viral today from Kenny's thoughts?
No, I mean
it said that it was like, yo, where is this man? The bloodline in trouble. His decision to the bloodline, and his daughter got kidnapped. Where is he? And I was like, yo. It's true.
Right. And listen, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of people baiting the Rock to come back come back home.
You got Grayson Waller. You know, eventually he gonna move. You know,
he's going to come back because every time he comes back, it re-puts him back in the same place.
Yeah,
it puts him right back where he was.
Yeah, but you know, shout out to Gewurz. He made a good point that you know he don't think he feel like he hasn't talked to him, but he said he probably feels it's not a good look right now with the strike stuff.
Oh, so yeah. Of course, the writer strike because he's been. I know he recently donated money to the organization.
Yeah. He's like, man, I'm out there making money while people that you know work for him not. But you know,
and he got the whole XFL flop going.
Yeah, he lost about what 60 million or something like that. Took a hit.
Well, I think. I mean, y'all would know better than me. It wasn't just a startup business hit.
It was.
Okay.
It was. So it wasn't like he.
Wasn't like he failed or anything. It was just, but that's what I was thinking. It was more of a startup business or resurgent business hit as opposed to because it seemed like it was doing well. It seemed like he was getting solid ads. You know, Jesse Ventura said the issue before was that the NFL told sponsors if you advertise with them, you can't advertise with us.
They did the same thing before though.
Yeah, and I don't think
that's the downfall was before that. They couldn't.
That's what Jesse Ventura. So I don't think that's the issue now. I think they use it more as a feeding system or whatever.
No, and that was the whole point. I think that was kind of the point that they made. Like, bro, we don't run games and stuff at the same time as you do. A lot of those guys come and they play the XFL and the USFL, and they get picked up for NFL teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it keeps guys active in the shape, trying to play and stuff like that. So it's like, but like I said, it's the Rock is I think the Rock.
Shout out to the best XFL reporter too, friend of the family of the program, Britt Waters.
Yeah, she did for the Washington.
The Washington team.
I almost called him. The defender. I almost called him the Washington Generals. Like it was the replacement. The replacements. Yeah, but
she just got back from Dubai doing the USA basketball stuff.
Oh wow!
And then back to work this morning. I was like, "Yo, fam, I don't know how you do it." I said, "I admire you."
Catching planes, cashing checks. I ain't mad at her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disappointed in Brother Brandon because he brought up TNA and TNA. You guys remember he was such a TNA mark. Like he was, man. Come on now. He was. Well, see, no, this is the part that blows me because out of all the returns that we talked about a lot of
Mhm.
returns today. We talked about a lot of special returns. He went there. He said, "I'm y'all talking about this WWE. I'm going to TNA." He didn't talk about when Sting made his return to pro wrestling completely in 2005 to
Yeah.
Now,
TNA
see, you know
Impact.
why I didn't say Sting made his return? Because that was his debut to TNA.
No,
His
it was
return to
not.
wrestling.
He debuted. He ought to be
Return.
ashamed. He debuted in 2003. Remember, he had that one off when he teamed up with Jeff Jarrett, and they faced
Oh,
You
off
consider
against
yeah.
that
like.
his debut?
Well, you got to remember at the time that was when T-Day was being booked like an indie, where people they would just sign up guys for dates and
Right.
that's
Hey,
it.
come here. You ain't doing nothing. Hey, come here. You ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, like they
That's
had
why they.
Sandman, Scott Hall, Sting. He still teamed like he remember. You got to remember that was around the time he found Jesus and he did that movie. If you watch movies, his first movie like Sting, whatever it's called, he has like these random like wrestling like silhouette like slow motion shadows. He's wrestling Abyss. And I'm like, this must have been around 2003 when he did that small stint in TNA. He might have did like maybe one TV because I didn't really have
I
TV
think
at
there
the
was
time.
only one TV airing, but I thought he did house shows with them or
He
something.
did the little asylum shows they did, and then he did the
Yeah.
pay-per-view. So it was that's why I consider it because it wasn't like a one-off, but it was like a small deal. It's like kind of like how TNA Impact's deals are now, where it's like 3 months and then just that's it. But at that point, he was still kind of fresh. He had gone away for about 2.5 years, and he came back, and his hair was cut, and I remember they were begging him to come back, and Jeff Jarrett was the biggest heel to cut him and Monty Brown, where kind of running roughshod off of TNA, and I think that was one of the best things that TNA had did early on storyline wise, doing stuff like Jeff Jarrett coming out. Sting is old and retired. He'll never come back. I don't care if you guys can keep cheering for the Stinger. And then like Sting's boots was in the ring, the lights went out, or Sting's mask was in the ring. And of course, God bless his soul, the Don West oversell him and Mike Tenay. Oh my God, is that a mask?
Is
It's
that
like
what I think it is? Oh my God, can we get a
it's-
close up of that?
and
Oh
like
my-
and the close up would have been there for 10 minutes, and Don West is like, I can't figure out what it is. That is that it is it's like that's a mask. It's like, oh
Like they was
boy.
trying to fill time.
Bro, him and Mike Tenay, this the famous TNA oversell. But to me, that was monumental because none of us thought Sting would ever end up in WWE, and Sting was one of my favorites. He's top 5. Like it goes. Breaking news. Here we go. It goes. Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. That's 1 and 2. Then it goes. The Rock, Macho Man, Sting. Like, and then you could just kind of follow suit from there. You know what I mean? So he was my guy. Like he was, and he came back, and then he had such a crazy run. And Sting was one of the main reasons I used to watch TNA, but I couldn't get through a whole show, and I wasn't paying for pay-per-views to see Sting. But I can appreciate what he's done now because I can go back and watch all that great stuff. He wasted all his good years there before he got to WWE, and Seth Rollins tried to kill him. But shout out to Sting now in AEW, still doing this thing. But that was a huge moment for TNA. Sting returned back to wrestling. Like I said, not even just TNA, just wrestling. So
that was one of the first returns I remember.
What's that? Now, hold on, that's a good twist. One of the first returns you've ever remembered. This is a good one. I want to hear this.
I don't remember exactly what's the first storyline it was, but Ric Flair returned to WCW.
That was a big deal because I remember he grew his hair back out.
Yeah.
They made him cut his hair. The executives want to have a certain look, but he came back as Ric Flair.
He came back full blown, wavy blonde, like
and
NXT style in the audience. Remember
with
that?
The suit on, because remember was he just wearing like sweaters or something crazy? He didn't have a jacket on that when he had his short hair. Didn't he just wear like a sweater a lot or something?
Yeah, it was a sweater
or a shirt. It was just a plain shirt. I remember with the jacket on was the hair, and it just felt like, oh, that's Rick.
And remember, this is the time where I'm thinking they walk across the street. And I remember turning on WCW Saturday Night. I can't remember if we was like if it was like the family was like make sure you watch because Ric Flair is coming back tonight or something like that. But I remember like being a child watching, and I just remember Tony Schiavone kept saying, "Yeah, so you're back, welcome back," and all this stuff. And that's honestly, I might not like what he do a lot, but Tony Schiavone coming back to wrestling in AEW, that was a big deal because he was somebody we never thought we would see back.
That counts as a return.
Yeah, but I'm like kind of over him now at this point.
Yeah, I think kind of. It's time to move on to the future.
Yeah,
Yeah,
over
honorable
Jim Ross,
mention
too.
was honorable mention was Christian because I feel like Christian kept in the Rumble because the whole thing about the Rumble,
yes.
they said that wasn't him embracing him Edge, that was him saying goodbye.
Bro,
And I'm like,
that broke me to shreds when I saw that. When they said
yeah,
this
because
that wasn't
Edge,
him
you could
saying
see it was
hello.
that was joy in his eye, like he got me. I didn't know he was there.
Bro.
And it was,
Oh, can we talk about it before we get off this stream? Because I want to know what the good brothers think.
What are we talking about?
I'm still pissed about the whole Christian thing because they tried to feed him to Roman in that storyline instead of giving him a solid story to come back. He deserves more respect to that. By he whose name should not be mentioned, because every time he mentions his name, we have technical difficulties. Go ahead.
Well, let's just
are you talking about Bo Dallas?
I want to know, what do y'all think about the reports that's saying Edge declined the WWE's offer. WWE declined Edge's offer or his demands, for lack of a better word. And the internal thoughts is believing that he is going to AEW. Good brothers, do you want to see it? I purposely didn't ask y'all in the chat because I wanted to know. I wanted to hear the words. I wanted to hear the flesh, what they had to say about this.
I had a feeling we was going to talk about it, and I think it's honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. Is because I'm gonna tell you right now, every time somebody goes, man, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know what I'm going to do next, man. It's usually somebody's going to leave and show up somewhere else. Because we saw the same thing with Jeff Hardy. When Jeff Hardy left WWE in 2009, like, oh, I don't know, man, I just need to take some time off, need a break. Next week he was on TNA Impact.
Yep.
And you know, of course, TNA Impact it's not really wrestling full time. You just, you do one weekend, you do 4 tapings. So it's technically part-time wrestling. It's easier in the body, but it's like every time somebody goes, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. Cody did the same thing in AEW. I'm working out a contract. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. Like, yeah, come on, man, cut it out. You know exactly what you're going to do. Not to mention, Edge was in contact with Tony Khan before he was going to return to WWE, because if WWE wasn't going to clear him, he was going to show up in AEW. So it's like, as soon as they were like, oh, Edge might show up, and I'm like, yeah, he might. He don't got to be Edge to be Adam Copeland. Like, everybody knows who he is. It doesn't matter what name you use. It's like Mick Foley. Once you get to a certain point, Daniel Bryan, anybody, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? They're gonna call him Adam, like Adam Copeland. Like, what difference is? Everybody knows they're gonna say, somebody's gonna say something like, this man has gone off the edge or something crazy like that. Why would rated R? So why the heck wouldn't Edge ask for some outrageous demands, knowing WWE's not gonna give it to him, and say, okay, well, they turned me down. We had a good run. Why not just take them?
Well, we forgot about 2 things. Edge is in a perfect position because if the merger is supposed to go through next month, they could be holding off on signing any of these big money deals because they don't know what's going to happen.
That's not true.
You don't think so?
Tony Khan does not use any logic when it comes to buying.
No, I'm talking about WWE.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were saying.
I thought you were talking about AEW. My bad.
Yeah, WWE could be holding off on signing these big money deals because they don't know what if they sign and then Edge is cut, or they say nope, you have to cut 12 wrestlers because you signed Edge to $1 billion contract. I'm just exaggerating, but Tony Khan will throw anything at him to get him, and then Tony Khan crazy enough to go pay Rob Zombie $1 million just to use his song to have Edge there.
Right.
But,
it's not. Think about it. I'm gonna tell you what's going on. I'm gonna tell you why. Do I need to see it? No. I'm glad we had our last Edge run. There's nobody really in. We're probably going to get like Edge and Christian.
Omega.
Yeah, but no, but see, those guys, those I don't know. Here's my conflict about it. One, Edge is old, but also AEW has done a really good job of preserving older guys. Look at Sting. Like, why Sting having a run? Sting's 65 years old, and
jumping off buildings,
and you can't tell. It's because he just comes out, he shows his face, he's just Sting. He doesn't have to look at Christian. Christian doesn't wrestle. He comes out there, he does the most craziest insults. He has 1 or 2 matches, and guess what?
Champion right now.
He's the TNT champion, and he
shows off his abs on social media,
and he's not even the champion.
Like, but here's my problem with Edge. Like, we had that discussion about moving people over. Edge would have the star power, but he would be that moment, and then because Edge is in that weird category that he's a legend, but he's not an old legend. And when I say old legend, he's not like a Sting age or Ric Flair age legend. He's a modern era legend where it's like, where does he fit in that wavelength of things? Because if he goes to
on
Impact,
the side of the travel truck, that's where he fits. His
Yeah.
face.
but the thing is,
Shout
like,
out to Willow.
but if he goes to Impact, right, he's going to break their bank.
No, cut
We
it
know
out.
that.
You know,
He ain't
no
going
one-
If he goes to AEW,
Brother, who left?
like really, you put him with Christian, and then you give him a tag team run, like.
No,
you do
like what do you, I mean, you could to help, but now I don't know. Honestly,
Because
I don't
like,
even know.
look what happened with Billy Gunn. He fit
Mhm.
into a groove that he was on TV. Remember, Mark Henry wanted to do more. That's why he left WWE and he's done less. Big
Amen.
Show wanted to do more. No
Come
more
on now,
BS.
Mark Henry done less. It's time for the main event.
I've
So
heard
my point is, where does he fit in there? Because at the end of the day,
anyway,
yeah,
Jericho.
WWE could use him, randomly, and
Mhm.
they clearly are giving him the spotlight when it's necessary. They're giving him the platform. At one point, remember when they announced the World Heavyweight Champion, we said, "Oh, Edge gonna win this," but it was like he got knocked out in the first round, and then it was like he keeps coming back. He needs to take a page from Rey Mysterio and say, "Let me just be here, collect my money, and keep my legend status, or do I really need to go over there and
He's
get
not.
out my system?" Because he never had a chance to go somewhere else and get out. Rey Mysterio went there and got it out of his system and came back.
And that's probably what I'm concerned the most about, to be honest with you. And that's he hasn't gotten that out of his system. He's only worked for WWE his whole career.
Yep.
know what I
Remember,
mean?
Ray was it
Right.
the first ever.
What
All
you
up
mean,
was-
Sexton Hardcastle?
I didn't count as independent. That wasn't Edge. That was like
But remember,
that was
and Ray
broke.
did
That
the
was broke
Trumpet
Adam.
round too, right? So Ray
Yeah,
had a
but
chance to go.
because Ray exactly like Ray left, did his world tour, and said, "I'm ready to settle down now."
He was in the first All In.
he
main
said, "I'm
event,
good."
He was dressed as
Yeah.
Wolverine, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was
He
Wolverine.
left.
It was.
And think about it, his friends, quote unquote, are over there as a FTR.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, just because your friends are there, where's your wife? Is she under a Legends deal, or is she not?
Right.
Because that's
I
another wrinkle that we think of. He said, "I
Yeah,
gotta
but-
ask my family
Yeah,
what to
but
do. I don't know
what
what's
are they
next."
gonna do? What are they doing with Beth Phoenix? They're not gonna cut her contract. Like they just let RVD go over there. Like
What kind
RVD,
of contract do she have? Because she could
That's
not.
what
got a
I
Legends
don't know
deal.
if she has a Legends deal or not. Where
Yeah.
I'm sure she does.
she's
'Cause
doing, is she doing appearances? Is she doing, can they call her back at a moment notice for a Rumble? Who knows what her contract is if she even
I
has one.
I don't think they're threatened by AEW, to be honest with you, not from a business standpoint.
Heck no.
No.
Like
I just
at
don't
one
think
point
he
it was
would
like
fit in
it's,
AEW.
AEW is
trust me,
equivalent to Impact-
listen to me.
NXT.
You know what he's gonna do? He's gonna do exactly what Jeff Hardy done did, what Matt Hardy done do, what Jericho, what Billy Gunn did. They're gonna find some young guys, say I'm working with them, have a match every once in a while, and get paid full-time money to work every once in a while. And to work like it's no house shows, there's no travel. You get paid a lot of money, have your moment.
Cut a
Edge shows
promo.
up, cut a promo. This is real wrestling. I'm happy to be here. Yeah, no disrespect to where I've been before, but this is my last go
Tony
round.
Khan
Make
is
sure
the best boss ever. Give me a hug, Tony. Yay.
Or go put Christian in his place. That's where it's gonna start. He's gonna go tell Christian he's
What
being a
happened to
jerk.
you?
Yep.
Why
now if we get Edge versus Christian in AEW, no way to got
That's
that.
not fair. That's
No,
not
no,
fair.
no.
Because they're gonna show up the whole roster.
I think I need that in my life because we never got that. Like they teased it years ago, but
With
then
Del Rio and the Edge guy
Yeah.
had to retire.
man, look that
I'd be down because the last time we got it, it was
That was their ladder match. Was the peak of their Intercontinental when it was a
yeah.
ladder match.
Yeah.
And he hit him with that one man concerto on the top of the ladder, and Christian just went limp and fell off.
I enjoyed that, man. Yeah,
that
give
build up was great.
give it to me.
I honestly don't think the Edge leaves. I think he holds out for Christian to come back because they got to go on the Hall of Fame as Edge and Christian.
Where is Christian's contract at as far as the AEW?
Remember, a lot of those are coming up in 2024.
Okay, because I think I think that makes a big deal too. He probably does though. Maybe he does wait for Christian to see what they can do. But
Because
bidding war.
think about it, they would be guaranteed a Hall of Fame spot together. Christian would get that
Absolutely.
first before he got his singles one.
yeah, of course. But I think Christian just deserved a better WWE run than he got.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the what he's doing in AEW. He's a crucial part of what they do, but it's like I blame Vince. I don't care. I said it because And it was simply because of the creative. He's like, dude, like I'm Christian, like I'm like you're supposed to treat me on the same level. They're like, oh no, good, Christian's back. So here's what we do: we're gonna throw you to Roman first, so that's gonna lead up to Edge. He's like, wait. I'm on the same level as Edge. Like, stop trying to make me his sidekick again. But it goes back to once again, like this dude was out of commission all this time for concussions, and he finally gets himself healthy. He never really officially retired, but he kind of, it pretty much retired, got himself together. And no, cut it out, Dylan. Danhausen.
I saw that too. I was like,
very nice, very evil.
Edge versus Darby Allin.
Yeah, like come on, man, cut it out. Like we don't need that, man. But yeah, it's like that Royal Rumble moment with Edge and Christian was spectacular. Christian could have been doing the same thing, but like I said, it's under a different regime. I think Triple H was running the show. And I think
one could have been on Raw, the other one on SmackDown.
So here's my concern. Christian is like at a focal point of AEW's product right now. I don't think he gets the same deal going to WWE because Triple H and Shawn Michaels are always about the youth movement. So if he does come in, he's going to come in to help, probably be a utility guy again, usher in the new crop of stars, work with those guys. But at the end of the day, those runs are over. But it's like in AEW, these old dogs get to be like these kind of manager/wrestlers. Like MVP kind of set the archetype for it, where he was like, okay, when he first got there, like I wrestle, I'm a manager, but I'm also a wrestler, and it's like a normal thing that we saw with Trick Williams. So it's like, all right, cool, I'm my manager, but I'm also a wrestler. It's like this hybrid thing. So I could spend majority of the time managing who I'm with, but then when I need to get my hands dirty, I get in the ring with them. We see it with Billy Gunn, we see it with like I said, we see it with Christian, we see it with Sting. You know what I mean? And I think AEW's kind of mastered that. I think they can just I don't see why he wouldn't go to I don't think he's gonna go there. He's gonna have one main event run like everybody does, Christian and CM Punk, and be the focal point, and then eventually fizzle out and have nothing else better to do. And
him and Jeff Hardy will cross paths for a minute. Him and Matt cross paths.
Yeah, come on. Like, I watched those guys today, and I was like, "Who? Matt Hardy is slow." Like you see those guys running the ring, and it's just like they look like the Hardys coming out when they first come out. You're like, "Oh, it's the Hardys." But then they get in the ring, you're like, oof.
Yeah, they hurt.
So, and the thing is, if you think about it, said it best in his documentary. They wasn't working as much, so they losing some of their step. They not getting that reps in like they used to. And I'm not by far a trade wrestler at all, but what Cody said made sense. If you go from doing something 4 days a week to once a week,
yeah, that's probably
16 times a month, you go to it twice a month.
That's why Cody started getting fat, started looking lethargic in the ring, and he's like, eh. Versus when he was even on the independent circuit, he was sharp. You know what I mean? And like, not that he was having bad matches, but he didn't look like himself, especially not compared to now. But that's the dust. Man. Oh,
I'm surprised Brandon didn't bring up CM Punk. That's your favorite guy, right?
He's about to leave the show. Like
that was an epic return, though. We can't.
How do we forget that, man? Come on now. Thank you, brother.
Because it's CM.
No, CM
exactly.
CM Punk.
Because it's CM Punk.
CM Punk returning to professional wrestling was a huge deal. Such a special moment in AEW.
No, the huge deal was that grown man crying that he made his return back. That was the huge deal.
That was a little overkill, but.
That was like he was crying like he was the best thing since sliced.
I'm like, bro, you guys are like 6 years apart. Why are you crying right now?
I'm not.
He probably was older than CM Punk.
We don't know what that meant. What that moment meant to that man.
That's also true. In all fairness, they think of Bryan as being a face right now.
Listen, to what I'm saying. CM Punk is not a good human being.
That's know, Brandon. He didn't give you an autograph. We know.
It wasn't me. That's the part of the story. I watched this man get smart with other people, and it's so crazy because that night in Baltimore,
Kelly, watch them both. We need them Twitch numbers. We're trying to get monetized on Twitch.
Right.
But we appreciate it.
I'm gonna go to Patreon and tell that story.
Please do. I think that's the perfect place to do it because
I'm gonna go to Patreon and tell that story because. I got some first-hand eyewitnesses to the story, and then we went to SmackDown that night,
and they booed him all in Baltimore because that word got around. No, I ain't gonna lie. Real talk. When Brandon told me that story, I was like, "All right, I don't like him," and I never rooted for Punk until 2012.
But and I all I can think about is those promos that Triple H had. I feel like they were grounded in reality. That was the first semblance of our dust.
He burnt him up, man.
Yeah, but he
couldn't keep up.
And look at all the stuff that's going on. All these reports can't be wrong. all of the reports
Right.
can't be wrong that he's
You're
Right.
probably
this
right
type
though.
of person.
That's what I was thinking, brother. You're like, yeah,
All
They're
of them
consistent.
can't be.
See, that's a real aunt right there.
there you go.
But you get what I'm saying? Like if 12 people report on Hulk Hogan only likes red and yellow, you got to look at it and say, okay, yeah, maybe the man only likes red and yellow.
Yeah.
If one person say he liked red and yellow, you're like, oh, they just mad because they want to wear red and yellow. So if everybody says the same thing about this man being a cancer, and then Tony Khan built a whole nother show on this man,
just so he can keep him around.
right? And then
A better
you don't
show,
want
though.
people back there because the Young Bucks went and super kicked your door in because you was talking, you know what about them. So
Kick this door down.
they super kicked
Oh
it.
man,
Super
the
kick
super
party.
kick party.
Do we
I've
still
been
have the
watching-
footage?
Do you still
Oh
have
my
breaking
God.
news?
Oh no, we do have the.
I don't think it's
no,
We got the
We
footage
do?
from the fight.
no, ladies. I don't know if you guys have seen this, ladies and gentlemen, but we had the footage from the was it the All Out Brawl?
All out brawl
Yeah.
out, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, I think
All
it's
Out
gone.
Brawl.
I don't think we
It's
have it
gone.
anymore.
It's gone. Yeah.
Oh
man.
no, yes, it's
Well,
not
go
on there.
back to right when it happened. What was that? 2022 in September, something like that. Yeah, watch one of them Wrestling Wrealm Now. You can go right on the YouTube channel. We got it organized. Go to the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast on the playlist. You can see footage.
Yeah, we removed it so we can have some space for other things. But
Got their StreamYard. What
Nah,
am I
yeah,
paying
man.
for? Give me space.
yeah, definitely need space though, because I was like, wait, where'd it go? But yeah, it's not on here. But we had that. We had exclusive footage. No, we had to get rid of it because of the copyright thing. Remember,
Yeah.
it had the
Oh yeah.
Tony
Yeah.
Khan, he ain't like it. He
the
said,
Tony Khan got an attitude with us, ladies and gentlemen, about us exposing the footage. You know, they signed NDAs legally we couldn't show, and we showed it anyway because that's just what we do.
And I just want to ask y'all a question. Do y'all think that Collision being as good as it is, was it a smart move to put it on, to have it on a Saturday night?
Yeah.
I don't mind it on Saturday nights. I think it's refreshing. I like weekend wrestling.
And I'm gonna
Free-
say this
free
because it's a
weekend
loaded
wrestling.
question. I like weekend wrestling, and I love the pay-per-views that happen on Saturday because it gives you a chance to breathe between Sunday and then Monday it happened, or like if the pay-per-views on Saturday and we don't have Dynamite or what you call it till Wednesday or Friday or SmackDown. I feel like it's going to be a gift and a curse because your SummerSlam was up against a CM Punk title match with Ricky Starks. I know you can't compare them, and we're in a DVR world, but I'm just like, the more I think of it, I'm like, I don't see myself sitting at home 8 o'clock on a Saturday to watch wrestling. I'm going to go back and watch it.
Give me 605. But
There you
to take a book
Why
out of
605?
Seahawk, because that's what WCW
That's what they used to do.
Might
Back
as
in
well.
the day, NWA.
Right.
605 on TBS did that.
Nah, so like the shout out to Cam Seahawk, as he put it, if you going out that night, if you don't feel like going out that night, you can watch wrestling, or if it's in your town, that's the thing you're gonna be going to. So but 605, like I said, my memories is shout out to my Uncle Troy cutting my hair, before him and my father had to go hit the towns doing quartet, get that haircut at 605 and watch Saturday night, and then I went home, went to bed. It was right before my grandmother wanted to watch Touched by an Angel.
Hey,
Oh, that was my show, bro. My goddamn show.
WWF Jacked Saturday night. Stand up
Yep.
and watch that.
No
after
doubt.
Mad TV.
That was midnight.
12
Yeah.
After Mad
midnight.
TV.
Mhm. And see, like,
Right.
that would have been coming home. Like nowadays, like coming home.
But I remember watching Mad TV and stand up, and I knew Jack would have one match on it, but it was a highlight of everything that happened.
That's what. Yeah,
Bro,
see,
that's
I
what it
didn't have
was for,
cable,
man.
so that was my wrestling. I
That was
waited.
perfect.
If I fell asleep beforehand, I got mad. Like I had to the VCR set every Saturday at 11:59 to 1:01 to make sure I had that recorded.
Bro, that was a great lead in. You are now watching Mad TV.
Man, this kid
Man.
don't know nothing about that.
And then after that, you see WWF Jacked for one shotgun Saturday
But
night.
Mad TV
Right.
would not last in this society.
No, it get
Oh,
canceled.
no.
It
You
would have got
can't say a
canceled the
word.
first episode.
I don't think you can do sketch comedy these days. I'm surprised Wild Out. Well, see, Wild Out's on there because they include everybody. You talk about inclusive. Good gosh.
I was gonna say YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube's another one. You know what I mean?
Go.
The landscape has changed.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, man. But man, this was loaded. There's a lot of returns. We almost forgot some very important ones, man. But
Dylan
We can always
went
do a
up with-
redo, part 2.
Look
Hey,
at
listen,
Dylan.
if we there, look at that, address him as AW. He really is though. Every week I hear something about him pressing down on
That's why I said
somebody or
everything
punching
can't
somebody
be
in
a
the face.
lie.
It's like, yeah, somebody's. It's so
It
you ever
can't-
see that? You ever see the thread on Twitter or the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, where it's like you just insert your own CM Punk dirt sheet website. Like, yeah, it's been
Yeah.
reported that CM Punk has been reported by the reporter.
All the YouTube shows I watch, like yet again in the news, another CM Punk update. CM Punk, like he's doing what he should. He's keeping us talking about him. But
Yeah.
if I'm not even gonna say it. I'll tell
I
y'all
think-
what Realm After Dark. What
I
feel
think
like
that's
CM
why.
Punk
I think that's why he's unapologetic about it though, because at the end of the day, he's like, I'm making money. Like that's his bottom line. He's like, as long as you keep an eye on the product, I'm doing my job. And that's one thing that Tony Boy is trying to figure out.
Isn't that what he said when he was eating them cupcakes?
He definitely
Yeah,
did.
the muffins.
That's exactly what he said. Or muffins or whatever the heck he was
The
eating.
muffin
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Bruh.
fellas. Whew, man, I'm overwhelmed. That's a lot. And I'm gonna tell you what the show does. And this happened last week. It's going to cause me to go back and watch a lot of these moments as
Yeah.
Brian H is looking so studious. As Brian H is obviously inspired by what he has read today, holding his many returns. But ladies and gentlemen,
He just
everybody that
celebrated a
joined us,
birthday, and he follows the wrestling round.
he does.
All right,
Hogan
put
just
that
turned
down,
what,
please.
70?
Thank you.
He just turned 70.
Yeah,
Right?
shout out to Hogan.
Hogan looks
He
amazing.
just turned 70.
Yeah, look, he just turned 70.
Hey,
Wait a
bro,
minute now. Hogan was
terrible.
like 50 when we were kids.
No, he wasn't. He was like 30s,
Yeah, he was.
late 30s.
No,
was
he
like
was not 30
No.
nothing.
He was not,
I
bro.
got a question.
And
Who
what
you
year?
think is older?
1985?
I was
Thank
in
you.
86.
You sure?
Who,
Him.
who you think is older, Jim Ross or Jerry Lawler?
Hogan.
It's definitely Jerry Lawler.
I was surprised to learn that Jerry Lawler was older. I
Yeah,
knew. I was
I knew
sitting
Jerry
there.
Lawler was older. He was
He's
more
the man,
active.
that's
all that
why.
time.
Yeah,
And remember, Jim's been sick a lot too.
Yeah,
Right.
Jim's
Yeah.
been sick for a long time.
long
both of them
time.
need to sit down. Just do some network specials.
I think-
JR come back home.
We'll see. Jerry Lawler relaxes though. He does the pre-shows.
And yeah, he know better. And
Post
Raw talk
shows, yeah.
sometimes, right?
Now,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he does
Yeah.
real talk.
Freaking Jim
But-
Ross still trying to travel, and it's like, Jim Ross, have a seat,
He
brother.
trying to be with the boys in the back, but he probably needs to keep himself active. He probably needs.
Yeah, because he wasn't the same after his wife
Yeah.
passed away, so
Yeah, his Twitter.
he doesn't want to go home.
He
Stop,
be
Stop.
off the hook.
stop liking and retweet girls' photos, have naked photos and stuff. I don't
Like,
even
bro,
think
you
Jim Ross
you recruited them, bro. Like, chill.
is, right? He just he said, "Old man can't look, can he?" I said, "All right, Jim Ross, slow down, buddy. It's 2023.
Right,
You
right.
gotta watch. You gotta watch what you like and
Go take
retweeting,
any
buddy."
medical appointment. They not driving you to your appointment.
Bro,
Go
when he said
to your
something,
appointment.
when he said something about Natalia's sister's OnlyFans, I was like, dude, Jim Ross, I know you don't care, man. Slow it down. Because you know Natalia says to be thirst trapping, so
I ain't mad at her though.
Mm,
and
Dion.
every once in a while she jumps on it with her, and I was like, Jim Ross just couldn't help himself one day.
Look, you see
Jim
Total
Ross.
Divas, Tyson Kidd wasn't paying no attention.
Yeah, she said, "Good gosh, I feel like I'm flirting with everybody but my husband." And he's like, "That kid doesn't give a crap." He's like, "You look great, I guess. It's all right."
Let me watch this wrestling match. I'm trying to watch Daniel Bryan versus Claudio. Move.
Yeah. Like, TJ, come on, bro. She's out there half naked. Just leave. Just turn the TV off. She wants your attention. He's like, golly, man. You can tell he's from the heart dungeon. That's all he's cared about is wrestling.
Wrestling.
He's trying to tell you, Brian and Claudio.
Straight up.
Oh boy, that's my guy. I like TJ Wilson.
Yeah, me too. He produces some of the best matches. Some
He
of your
does.
favorite
Yes.
matches.
Yes.
And he works with the women primarily, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Still? Yeah.
That's-
So
yeah.
yeah, shout out to WWE producers. But I guess that's it, gentlemen. We had quite a few returns to talk about today. We burned the midnight oil, burning midnight oil.
You said producers. One of them, I wish he would make a return, but he sound like he in the producer role. That is Bobby Roode.
Yeah, I mean, but they said he gotta have another neck surgery or
Oh,
yeah, like
another
when he
one?
first
He gotta
came.
have another-
Yeah, like, and I was like, dude, like this ain't looking good.
Yeah,
He
He
don't
might-
was
don't
in
wrestle.
TNA. Think
might-
about how he wrestled in TNA.
Right.
Yeah.
that's what.
Yeah,
see,
he
that's
was-
That took a toll on him probably.
it goes back to what I don't. Did anybody watch AEW Dynamite tonight? I don't mean to keep
Yeah.
prolonging. Did you guys see Will Ospreay's promo with Chris Jericho?
Nah, but didn't Jericho like go in?
Will Ospreay won it. I've never heard
Oh,
of
Will
like
Ospreay.
that. Oh my gosh! And he made. I don't think Chris Jericho was expecting that. Will Ospreay gave probably. He's never given a promo like that stateside before, not to that degree. It was, to me, that was like his first American professional wrestling promo. He's been wrestling all this time since he's been a heavyweight, because he put on a weight. He cut like a full-blown sports entertainment promo. And I said, I've never seen this out of you before, Will Ospreay. But Jericho took that jacket off, and Jericho's always going to get real. And Jericho told him like this is the same kid I called 4 years ago and told him, bro, you're gonna be in a wheelchair if you don't slow down. You're so reckless in the ring, doing all this stuff for the sake of these cheap pops on independence. And he was pretty much trying to get him riled up, and then he slapped him at the end, which was great. But man, I was like, ooh, this. Yeah, but see, Jericho had to tell him, like, bro, you don't got to do all that stuff. Like, your career's not. I hope you're having your moments and you're having good, but all the stuff you're doing, man, your body's not gonna hold up. It's because these older wrestlers are like reminding these young dudes and these independent guys and these global stars, like, yo, you're human. Eventually, that's gonna slow down. Like I'm watching these Young Bucks matches. They don't even wrestle the same anymore. Like when I watch them now compared to what they did before, I said they were really athletic back in the day. They used to do all kind of stuff.
Well, but Kingo, I mean, is that his name? The AAA champion.
Yeah, Vikingo.
All of his matches are go, flip.
It's
like,
nonstop.
It's kind of lucha spot monkey-ish, but in their prospective spaces, that's what you're supposed to do that for. But also in those prospective spaces, you're not wrestling every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you reserve those things for big months, house shows and stuff like that. But man, like I said, man, we will see what happens sooner rather than later with Edge, man. I don't know if I wouldn't be surprised. Do I want it? Not really, but you know what? I've gotten over Adam Cole. I've gotten over the Hardy. So Edge and AEW is not gonna make a difference to me one way or another. It's not gonna be much for him to do. Of course, him and Christian, but then he'll get paid a lot of money to do next to nothing, and he'll be appreciated. So
it makes sense on his part.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a cheap money grab. I don't want to wrestle full time in WWE, but I don't want to go home yet. So that's that in between stage.
Right.
I can hang out, wrestle every once in a while, let my face and my name make me some money. You know what I mean? And grab me two young guys, and I'll be their new mentor, like I did with Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder early on, and collect a paycheck from Tony.
He's not done it all, man. The man was out for 9 years, bro.
That's what I said, man. That's what I've said.
He's not done.
And he's although he looks slow in the ring, man, he's in phenomenal shape. Like, look at AEW. He don't have to wrestle, bro. Look at Christian.
Remember when his contract was up before he retired, TNA was trying to get him, and he said, "No, I'm gonna stay with WWE."
Because they didn't make sense to go to TNA. AEW's got money.
No, but remember, this is when TNA was on the rise inside of people, and he was like, "No, I'm gonna stay with WWE," and he made it big there.
They only had room for one superstar in TNA. It's financially, and that was Kurt Angle. Because I was tripping out when I found out that Brock Lesnar was like, "Hey man, I'll come over there if they can pay me what they're paying you."
Mm-hmm.
And TNA was, you would think they would have jumped at the opportunity. Like, we got to figure this out. They literally said no. That's how much money they were paying Kurt Angle. They said, "Nah, we can't afford that. That ain't gonna happen." I said, "Dang, it must have been in bad shape financially. Not really, but just didn't want. They couldn't afford to pay two people of that caliber." They said, "Man, we got one. We got Kurt, and that's it. They can't be both." But like I said, who wouldn't want to get paid that kind of full-time money to wrestle part-time?
Yep.
But we shall see. Good brothers.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I know we keeping it going.
Nah, it's what we do, bro.
We forgot about who one of the guys that has like the best presentation as far as returns.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
That's one. I didn't even think about him, but the Undertaker, of course. How many times has this man died and came back?
Yeah.
But think about it. The way he comes back is different.
It's always different. You're absolutely right. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves. How's all four of us and we just disrespected the Undertaker? Thank you, brother Hugh.
Because he's come back 746 times.
Yeah, that's but it's still the Undertaker though. Like remember the first time he came back as the Dead Man? WrestleMania, I guess 20-ish around that era.
Oh yeah, WrestleMania 20 with Kane.
Yeah, because
Kane was like, no.
His hair was kind of short. He was growing. He was trying to get back to who he was.
Yeah, because he was been biker taker before.
Yeah,
and I remember shout out to B. Ryan Harley was like, "Yo, if this dude come back on a bike, I'm not watching." And
I never liked biker taker. Like I adjusted to it. But it was just like, no, I need Dead Man Taker. And that the last time when him and AJ when he kind of mixed the two. When he was like, okay, I'm because that's kind of who he is now. He's like, I'm in the middle now.
Butt kick and Dead Man.
There you go. And it's like, okay, this is cool. We get both versions of them. I was okay with that. But like I said, that's the end.
When was the first time did he return? Was that when with Yokozuna? The Buried Alive?
After he got his face broken. No, it was what was it? Yeah, because he had the casket match He had the casket match.
Well, not Bret Hart. Yeah, it was the casket match.
He had the casket match with Yokozuna, and everybody jumped him.
Yeah.
And they finally buried him, and then they he had that little disappear from the casket, and then he showed back up in. When did he come back?
When he came back.
I remember when he came back. He looked different. You know what I mean? He started winning black and purple after a while.
Oh yeah, that was the setup. Undertaker versus Undertaker.
There you go. Yeah, because DiBiase had the fake Undertaker in the black and gray, and he had a much more lean look and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. They said never do because he can say that, but he can still just go back to just throwing the coat on.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I guess next time we talking about future returns. Who would you like to see return?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the natural, what do you call it? The natural evolution of the conversation. Who would you like to return? I think everybody's out though, is it?
I don't know. I saw AJ Lee in the ring on Heels. I know it's a TV show or whatnot, but she looked pretty good, bro.
She was jacked.
She still got it. Yeah.
She was jacked. Shout out to her. Stuff she's doing over there at Wow.
Yeah.
Is that still going on? They started a new season of that?
I stopped watching.
Okay. Anyways, look, Brother Brandon's dozing off. I caught him.
I'm not dozing off. I was actually.
Shout out to everybody in the Facebook fan group. I mean, definitely people put some returns in there, so we can definitely keep the conversation going on social media.
Yeah, so continue the conversation, ladies, like Brandon said on social media. Brother Brandon was playing bingo. Looked like he was dozing off, but he's snapping.
It's not bingo.
It wasn't bingo?
I know. No, I bet you I can guess what you're doing.
Royal match. It's addictive. I refuse to play Monopoly like everybody playing it on Facebook. So
let's just call it bingo.
Okay, sure. You want to call it bingo?
I got bingo. I got bingo on here. Let me see where's that. Because it was purple like mine. It's bingo. It's bingo. Anyway, let's get to Realm After Dark. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, where we had a chance to talk about some of the best returns in all of professional wrestling. Join us next week. I believe is next week. Are we due for a party?
Yes, we are.
We are in for a party. We have another. Oh man, where's Brother Roger at? Is he still in here? Brother Raj. Brother Raj. Happy birthday to Kobe as well. Although it's the next day, but happy birthday, Brother Raj. You're gonna like this one, buddy. We got a special guest coming next week.
Here's some music first. Joining
us for the party. Hey, I can't wait for this guy to get into Club Intellect and bust a move. It's gonna be we got another good brother. I can't wait till we announce it. And it's gonna be a good one, man. So so join us next week, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, we have another Wrestling Wrealm podcast party. It's a party, 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 it's a. And on that note, we will catch you guys next week. Follow us on all social media channels. Continue the conversation in the Facebook group, Twitter, X, Instagram, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. We out. Peace.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!